Are we ready? Okay, it is March 3rd, 2026, and we're calling this meeting to order. City Clerk, can you please do the roll call?
Mayor Olson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bishop,
Here.
Council Members Loa,
Here.
Betancourt,
Here.
Alarcon,
Here.
and Commissioner Fragasane.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Commissioner, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence?
Yes.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, can you please play the Public Code of Conduct?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The meeting of the Palmdale City Council is now in order. A code of conduct will now be read, and we request that you comply with it to ensure the efficient administration of the meeting. Members of the public, it is your right to participate in today's City Council meeting, and the Council encourages such participation. However, the right of the public to address the council must be balanced with the need to ensure that public comment does not interfere with the orderly course of the council's business. All are reminded to abide by the following rules. Speakers must cease speaking immediately when their time has ended. Public comment on agenda items must relate to the subject matter of that item. General public comment is limited to subjects within the jurisdiction of the council. Public comment does not include the right to engage in a dialogue with council members or staff. Please remain respectful of the forum and refrain from uttering, writing, or displaying profane, personal, threatening, derogatory, demeaning, or other abusive statements towards the council, any member thereof, staff, or any other person. Members of the audience should be respectful of the views expressed by speakers, staff, and council members, and may not excessively clap, cheer, whistle, or otherwise disrupt the orderly conduct of the meeting. Any person engaging in conduct that disrupts the meeting is subject to being removed from the council meeting. Finally, if you witness conduct or behavior by other members of the public that disrupts your ability to remain engaged or participate in this meeting, please notify city staff. Thank you for your cooperation.
Okay, thank you. Now let's play the cute critter video. Okay, thank you. City Clerk, can you please now acknowledge the observances for the month of March?
The City of Palmdale would like to acknowledge the following observances for the month of March: Irish American Heritage Month, Women's History Month, National Reading Month, American Red Cross Month, March 6th, Employee Appreciation Day, and March 31st, Cesar Chavez Day. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, item number 4, we have a presentation from our friends from Coffee for Vets. Come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Juan Blanco. I am President of Coffee for Vets. I do apologize for not having one here, and I apologize for being late. I'm so sorry. But we are here to recognize you, the City Council, for all that you do for veterans in our community. So we have certificates of appreciation that I would like to read, please. This one is for the mayor of Palmdale, but they all read the same. An appreciation for your dedication to our veterans in the city of Palmdale and the Antelope Valley, and by honoring a veteran each year with the Tom Hilzendager Veteran of the Year Award, along with your unwavering support of Veterans Enriched Housing Project, shows your dedication to our veteran community. Coffee for Vets thanks you for all that you do for being a veteran-friendly city. Presented this third day of March 2026, and should we bring them up, or would you like to come down?
Let's all come down and receive our certificates.
These names don't match.
All right, turn around, guys. Sign your name and stand by your.
Thank you. How are you, buddy?
Good. Okay. So these little white things on the back, they're essential for where the hose go. Thank you so much.
Congratulations and thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good stuff.
Congratulations and thank you.
Congrats.
Yes, no, it is.
That was very nice. Oh, sorry.
Okay, sure.
Did you want to announce when their meetings are? I don't know if the rest of the council wants to say anything. I was particularly moved by that in this moment. Our country is in the midst of turmoil, international turmoil, and our service members are being deployed, and our heroes, sheroes, are putting their lives on the line to protect our freedoms. And so it moves me because you guys are giving us awards, when really you guys are the ones that deserve the award and the round of applause. So thank you.
Anybody else like to say anything? No, I just want to appreciate Juan. Thank you. Don't run out. Hey. No, thank you. It's an honor. Our veterans are honoring us for honoring our veterans. This is a community. We pull together. We win together. You know, I've said it a million times and I'll keep saying it. Palmdale is a proud defense community. We have one of the highest rate of veterans in the nation, and I believe that this council will always do whatever we can to honor veterans and their sacrifice to this country. So thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to non-agenda public comment. I asked for this item to come to the top of the meeting because there are residents that have concerns that want to address the council. I believe that they have the right to come and address us and get home to their families in a timely manner if that's what they choose to do. There is nothing that would preclude anybody from staying throughout the entire meeting. So this was something that I want to try to see if I'm right in my theory. So we'll get right to it. Non-agenda public comment. Do we have any speakers?
Yes. We have Chris Perry.
Good evening, Chris Perry. I am from Southern California Edison. I am the new government relations manager covering the city of Palmdale and the entirety of the Antelope Valley. The city of Palmdale has a special place as I used to live here myself with my family. Hopefully we can make it back as a place we live as well. But I wanted to put a face to the name. You'll be seeing me out here a lot more often. And, Edison as a company and myself as a former resident are very committed to a strong partnership between the company and the city. So I hope to continue that. I know we already have a strong partnership, but look forward to, addressing any issues or concerns and working together as we go forward. I see a few familiar faces. I used to work for very elected officials in this area. For those of you, hello, good to see you again. Those I've not worked with, I look forward to working with you. So I'll leave a few business cards in case anyone wants to get a hold of me, and look forward to working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
care.
you, Chris. Tell Dave we said hi.
We have Jason Zink.
I'm glad to see that the non-agenda at the beginning of the meeting so people can say their concerns and go home early. So that's a smart thing to do with the agenda. I'd like this city and the mayor to do more advocacy for our super commuters. I'd like you to testify before the County Board of Supervisors to let them know about the problem, the job imbalance problem. We have 75,000 to 100,000 people that leave every day to drive to LA, and that needs to be corrected. We need to create more local jobs, and I'd like you to go to the GoBiz office and see the chair, Dee Mears, and talk with her about making a special district and making a special tax district for this area. So I'd like you to do that. The other thing is the street sweeping. The street sweepers are driving way too fast, and they're not picking up the stuff that's in the curb. They make people have to wash their cars after it goes by. It's crazy that these people are not smart enough to do their proper job. So I'd like that to be fixed. And I also like to have flyers, the city staff to put flyers on the people that are leaving their cars out there. And I'd like to see the time changed to 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, not at 7 a.m. when people haven't even left to go to work or church or medical or anything like that at school. Our power rates are higher than Edison. The whole reason we got our own power company in Palmdale was so our rates would be cheaper. But now our rates are higher. They're also higher in Lancaster than Edison. So I'd like you guys to concentrate on that because we're not going to have a good quality of life with $1,000 electric bills during the summertime because of our AC. Measure AV. I went to the meeting, Measure AV. Staff did a terrible, terrible job. There was no item by item summary of what the items were. There was money not even spent. And here we only have 3 months left in the year. And we have third world streets. I want all that money taken, and I want a road paving initiative. We shouldn't be driving on third world streets when we're paying the highest sales tax, not in the state, in the country. The money's not the problem. It's you guys looking at the city manager, city staff, and saying, I want a proposal right now to pave all the streets that need to be paved. Bishop said that the streets need to be paved every 7 years. We have streets that haven't been paved in 15 years. So what is that saying about the service that the city is giving to its residents? It's saying that you guys don't care about high standards for our city. So I'd like you guys to make that initiative. Street repaving, street signs, everything to make our city look nicer. Thank you.
Palmdale Playhouse. Frozen characters.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Jonah De Acariza, and I will be playing the role of Anna in the city's production of Frozen, the Broadway musical. I'm joined by Josie Akers, who's playing the role of Elsa.
Good evening. We promise not to freeze the chambers tonight. I'll do my best to conceal and don't feel, but we are very excited to be here.
We're here to personally invite you to the opening night of Frozen. Our incredible cast has been working very hard to bring the Kingdom of Arendelle to life right here in our community.
From Do You Want to Build a Snowman and For the First Time in Forever, this production is filled with heart, humor, and a whole lot of theatrical magic.
Oh, and how could I forget? I would love to introduce our young Anna and young Elsa, Violet and Olivia.
Yes, they represent the next generation of performers in our community, and we're so proud of the dedication and the joy that they bring to the stage.
They remind us that sisterhood means always sticking together, even when things get a little icy.
Olivia and Violet have a small gift that they would like to give as a token of our appreciation and invitation to come to opening night for our production. Would that be okay for them to bring it to you?
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Oh, it does.
It's a beautiful gift until I saw my picture.
This production is a true act of love for our city, and we would be so honored if you can join us for opening night.
Thank you for your continued support of our community and of performing arts. We hope to see you in Arundel very soon.
Thank you, and thank you for the nice gift. It was wonderful, and God bless you all.
Oh, thank you.
So cute.
No further speaker cards.
Hello. First of all, and I'm glad you guys are sitting down because I wouldn't want you to fall over, but I want to thank you guys because I know that it's hard doing what you do, having to put up with the likes of me and people that are never satisfied. But I do appreciate that you're trying. Having said that, it seems to me from looking at the agenda that congratulations might be in order for Mr. Mendez. And if that is the case, I would like to say thank you and congratulations on behalf of the Palmdale Freedom Coalition. I wish you nothing but luck as the new city manager. And thank you guys for doing the exhaustive search that you promised us. The last time around that didn't happen. You know, we made a lot of noise over it, but thank you for keeping your word this time. Mr. Olson, last time I spoke here, I think it was, I had asked you about if I could expect you to lead the effort to reduce our obscene 11.25% sales tax. And I think it was the Brown Act that precluded you from saying anything but working on it. And I appreciate that, and I know you can't do it now, but I would very much like to know what work, if any, has been done toward that end. Because, you know, I keep saying this, you know, we have too many people here commute 100 miles a day plus. We have the highest gas prices in the nation. And whatever people's stance on what's going on internationally right now, gas prices are going to go a bit higher. California hasn't gotten much relief at all. And this tax is just a killer. And I went to buy a lawnmower today over at Lowe's, and I looked at the price and I computed the sales tax, and I said, nope, I'm not doing it here. I'm just not. This isn't intended to be a gotcha or anything like that. I'm just telling you, I would sincerely appreciate it if there was an effort made by this city council to do something about that, because I got to tell you, it seems like one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen by any government anywhere. And I know that wasn't you guys that imposed that. I want to make that very clear. The people voted on this. I believe from my own experiences with our organization, there are a lot of people who did not know what a yes vote was. A lot of people thought that if it passed, Measure PD passed, it would only guarantee that any extra tax resources stayed in Palmdale if they ever got raised. People did not understand that that was, in fact, a tax increase. So there are a lot of people who feel betrayed, and who did the betraying at this point isn't even the problem. I know it wasn't you guys that did that, but you guys are our representatives here. I fully expect to hear something from you aimed at the state, the county, whatever, to reduce this tax. It is untenable for too many families. And you said safety and affordability were your top two priorities. I want to see that happen. Thank you very much.
Well, this having comments at the beginning, you haven't said anything to upset me yet. What am I supposed to be concerned about? But keep it up. I'll find something by the end of this get-together.
Thank you. Anyone else on non-agenda item? Okay, we're going to close.
Nelson, there was a something that was written in, I believe by email, from Evangelina Garcia. I don't know, I think everyone has a copy of that.
I got a packet.
And she raises a concern about the fire department and areas in the city being classified as very high zone for fire. And obviously, that's going to have some impact on the rates that we're all paying for fire insurance, but particularly people that are in those particular areas. So I hope we pay attention to that. It's well put together and quite comprehensive, probably longer than 3 minutes to read, but we should pay attention to it.
Thank you for raising that comment. If, at the end of future agenda items, if you want to make a motion to add that to a future agenda for a report back on all of the issues that she raised, I'd be happy to second that motion.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and I've already gotten my letter from the county, because it's the county that's doing this, talking about the 5 foot away from your house. You can't have any vegetation within 5 feet of your house. Thank God I don't have a lot. I'll have to cut some bushes down, but everyone will start to get letters very soon from the county. If you haven't got one already, you will be getting one. Make sure you pay attention to it, because they're talking about the schedule for inspections and what the fines and fees will be. Is this something, do we need a motion on this? Can we just bring it back next month? A report on the areas that are being affected and what the rate is?
Mayor, members of City Council, we can get with Economic Development and also the LA County Fire, see if they can make a presentation on this, and we can have them come out. They usually do a presentation once a month, so we'll ask them to work specifically on this.
Okay, so you'll follow up with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
We're moving on to the Housing Authority consent calendar. If the public would like to participate on the one Housing Authority consent item. Is there public comment for Housing Authority? All right. Great. We're going to close that. And now we're on to the regular consent calendar.
No, I make a motion to approve the minutes first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone oppose? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. No, they've got another item coming up. So we're moving on to consent calendar for the council meeting. Interim city manager, is there anything on the consent calendar that's going to be pulled?
No, there are no items to pull.
Okay. Let's hear public comment for consent calendar.
We have Jason Zink.
Just on 7.3, publishing software, Olson and Alicon, you weren't here, but the city had spent almost $800,000 on computer software system that they never used. They wasted $800,000 of taxpayer money, the city did. And this is what upsets me, because I can't even get you guys to put a park sign on Paul Menthol Historic Park, you know, spend a couple $100. But yet the city looks at these things on consent calendar and they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. And nobody really knows, except the city manager, I guess. That person was fired that bought that stuff by the J.J. Murphy, but $800,000. Also, I'd like you to pull 7.5 because I'd like to hear the progress report on the housing. I think that's very important since we're in a housing crisis. And I'm glad to see the tree company, but I'd like to work with that tree company if you guys don't have a problem with it. And let's start making these trees look a little nicer, cut all the dead out of them. You talk about fire, and let's replant them. We're paying landscape maintenance on landscape property taxes, but yet there's no trees. They haven't been replanted. So actually, we're not getting what we're paying for. And then on Avenue T, I'm assuming this is to repave Avenue T. That's a very dangerous roadway. That's in your district, Olson. And that's probably been one of the highest talked about things for people that live on the east side, that live in the communities of Little Rock and 4 Points and stuff like that. That needs to be fixed. Those are high traffic gravel trucks. My brother was killed with one at 4 Points. And that road needs to be fixed. The money's there. It needs to be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further speaker cards?
Roger? Okay.
Sorry, I don't have it.
All right.
I'll try harder.
Okay, we're gonna close public comment on the consent calendar.
Can we pull 7.5, 7.6, please?
As well as 7.3 and 7.4, please.
7, 8 for me.
Okay.
I'll move it to the balance of the consent calendar.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve 7.1, 7.2, 7.7, 7.9, and 7.10. All in favor, say aye.
Actually, wait, 7.10, can we pull 7.10 too?
Yep,
Quick edits there.
okay. Motion and a second on the remainder. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes unanimously. That brings us to 7.3. Do we have a presentation?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. 7.3, this item tonight is we are proposing or requesting the approval of agreement with Una Solutions for a budget management and publishing software. This agreement would have a not-to-exceed amount of $263,000 for a 3-year term with 2 one-year options to extend. The city did go out to RFP in November of 2025, and we had nine responses upon the closing date in December. We formed an evaluation team of the subject matter experts within our staff and evaluated those 9 proposals. We then invited the top 3 candidates back for demonstrations with the team. They were further evaluated, and Una Solutions was selected as the best fit for the city. We did focus on their qualifications. While cost is a factor, we look primarily at their technical qualifications, including their public sector experience, their integration capability with our financial software, and their publishing capability. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you for that staff report. The reason why I pulled this was, I wanted to make sure that we were able to address Mr. Zing's question about prior software purchases, which Mayor Olson and I were apparently not in office for. So if you can address that at some point. But I think this contract actually is sort of the prime example of why we previously have requested that all of the proposals are listed with their headquarters and the cost proposal amount. So there, as you noted, there are 9 proposers, one of which is from Palmdale. But yet we selected somebody, and we had people from Canada, from Pennsylvania, from Michigan, from all over the place, and we selected the contractor from Georgia. So for the benefit of the public, can you just please walk us through how we ended up selecting the proposer from Georgia as opposed to the one from Palmdale and others?
Absolutely. So a part of the evaluation, we do have a criteria that the evaluation team uses. There is a technical proposal, organizational qualifications and experience, staffing and management plans, and then the cost proposal. So in looking at all of those, specifically the respondent from Palmdale had a weaker proposal in that they had a single point as opposed to a management team that would be able to assist the staff in preparing a book of the magnitude that we have. In addition to that, they had limited capability for integration with our financial software. One of the main goals that we looked at in this software was streamlining and efficiencies and being able to decrease the time in preparation for the consolidated budget book. So in looking at all of those factors, as well as the demonstrations, and I'm sorry, this one actually didn't rank in the top 3, so they did not provide a demonstration. But all of those factors considered, they ranked, I think they were number 8 in the evaluation, consolidated evaluation.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to use this as an example and to show the public why and the rationale as to why it really is important and critical for us to put this information in the staff report so that we can review it from a different sort of policy perspective as opposed to just a technical perspective when you guys are reviewing it as a panel. But can you also please address Mr. Zink's concern?
Yes, of course. I will speak from a budgeting and publishing software perspective. We have not previously gone out for anything of this sort. I believe the item that Mr. Zink is referencing was a permitting software that the city had contracted, and it probably 7 to 8 years ago. I don't have an exact timeline on that, but as I recall, it was something unrelated to budgeting and publishing.
Thanks. So just the final point on that, we've asked for it before, and I can't remember how long ago it was, but at least a report back on where, in terms of the procurement process, we can prioritize local contractors. In this instance, obviously, they weren't, they didn't have the technical or the management capacity to meet our need, but we never really got a report back on the ability to at least put local preference points in the evaluation process in terms of job creation. That's really why, at least for me, I'm, I say it over and over again, job creation here, we want to reduce the super commuters, and we can do that by creating jobs here. This is one means by which we can do it, but we never really got a full report back on the ability. And so this is less to you, more to our interim city manager and our city attorney, to get a report back on how and when and if it's possible for us to incorporate, moving forward, a system by which we can create some sort of point system that gives preference to local contractors. That's it.
Anyone else on 7.3?
Yeah,
Just briefly,
Sorry.
I've been requesting the bids, and you sent it to me, and I appreciate that. This company did look very good. But I have a comment on the other one when we get to it. I think it's 7.8. But thank you for sending that to me. I appreciate that. It gives me a good perspective on what we're trying to do here.
Of course.
Yes, I just want to say kudos for selecting the software. They are known as a top-tier software company when it comes to organizing budget, finance, and grants. I looked into them. They manage finances for over 1,000 different municipalities, managing over $538 billion. But the part that's really exciting, we talked about this a little bit in briefings, is the fact that they have a portal for grants, and it helps manage and organize grants. They even have something that helps write the grants called Grant GPT that will actually make sure that we're not losing out on any potential state and federal money. So well worth investment, and I'm looking forward to see this software implemented. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously, 7-4.
Thank you.
All right, 7.4, this item before you is to request the approval of an agreement and a requisition with Cashel Corporation doing business as IMS, or Integrated Media Systems, for council chamber broadcast and audiovisual upgrade project. This is a total not to exceed amount of $487,570. It is a combined amount, so on the staff report, you will see that it is broken into two pieces. One is the agreement and professional services, which consists of the installation and professional service component, and then the requisition, which consists of the product and equipment. This item is coming before you because we have new state requirements, SB 707, that we are looking to implement. The date for implementation is July 1st, and we're hoping that by entering into this agreement, we can be well on our way to meeting those requirements. I'm available for any questions you have.
So it's the state of California that says that we have to have it in place by July 1st?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Loa?
Yeah, this one did not go out with a request for bids, and can you explain a little bit how that came about?
Of course. This one did not, you are correct, it did not go out for bids. One of the reasons was due to the timeliness of moving forward in the implementation for SB 707. We did utilize, there is a provision in the city's municipal code, section 3.08140, which allows us to utilize the city's best interest provision. And one of those reasons there was the timeliness for implementation. But IMS also originally implemented the council chamber broadcast and audiovisual system back in 2018. So they have detailed knowledge of the system, of the architecture, and coming into a project of this magnitude, the learning curve would be much less than bringing someone else in that would take quite a bit of time to get up to speed and then design and implement all of those changes. So we did use that provision.
Okay, and that's I imagine that's a narrowly construed provision in the best interest of the city. But isn't that a loophole that could be applied to many other types of projects that perhaps don't qualify? How do you distinguish between what's in the best interest of the city proposal as opposed to something that you decide has to go to bid?
Well, we look at legal requirements. That's a very top priority that we look at. We also do request that any request to utilize city's best interest goes through a layer of review. So it goes through the procurement team. The same with the sole source to actually determine if it truly is a sole source or a city's best interest. We look at timing, we look at cost. In this case, those were all evaluated. The timing of implementing this system, it's critical that we move towards implementation as well as the cost. When you look at a vendor who has the experience, the familiarity with the system, the reduction in cost and hours that go into that project is a result of that. So all of those are considered. Again, the layer of review, it goes through procurement and then through myself for final review before anything is allowed to be proceed under the city's best interest.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay.
Yes, so thank you for the presentation. The reason why I pulled the item was specifically because, and you knew in advance that the question was coming, but the item before us, the staff report says that it's for a total of nearly 500,000. And it says that there's one agreement totaling 260,000 in change. And then there's also a requisition for another 200 and something thousand in our staff report and all attached documentation. There's only one agreement and there is no requisition. There's the one agreement for the 1 year term of the 260,000, but there's nothing for the other 226,000. So I just, is there an agreement? Are we asking for? Are we extending a contract for the requisition? I'm just unclear on what we're doing exactly.
The agreement would be for the 268,994. That is a standalone item. The requisition should have been attached to the agenda, and I will double check if it was not. But that is
I don't see it unless you guys can find it for me. It's not in here. And then I did find their proposal for that piece, and it's for the equipment component, and I get that there's professional services, which is what the agreement is for, and then there's money for the equipment. But there's no document, there's no agreement, there's no MOU, there's no requisition itself attached to it, so there's nothing for me to review with regard to the requisition. What is it based on? Is it an extension of an existing contract? Is it a standalone requisition that's based on some other contract? I don't know what it is, and there's not a whole lot in here for me to be able to identify what this full 400,000 or nearly 500,000 is for.
The requisition would be a standalone item for the equipment only. So the quote that you did see totaling the 226,000 would be a requisition. Upon approval of that requisition, it would be converted to a purchase order. There's no agreement or
So
MOU.
how do we do a requisition without an agreement? How do we just cut a check for $250,000 without an agreement?
Mayor, members of the City Council, usually we'd come, just as we're doing to you, we'd come to the body to request that funding source. Once the funding source is approved by the body, then we do we go through the requisition and we encumber the money through the purchase order process. The purchase order process wouldn't be approved above the city manager's lawman level. It wouldn't be approved without approval of the City Council. So it has to be approved, the funding has to be approved by the City Council before we go ahead and move forward with a purchase order. So that amount of $226,675 would be encumbered within a PO that the city has.
Okay, but so you're saying that it's supposed to identify the funding source. There's no funding source identified, again, without the requisition itself or any sort of additional narrative. I don't know where this money's coming from.
The funding source is outlined in the staff report. We are utilizing PEG funds, the Public Educational and Government Access Funds,
Is that for the contract, for the
all
professional
of it.
service and for both?
for both, correct, for the full 487,000.
Excuse me, council, the requisition is
Where
within
was
your
it?
packet?
It's not in mine.
So it's right, it should be right before. You should see it right before integrated media.
Mine doesn't have it. My binder doesn't have it. Do you have it? You mean right before this? It's not here. There's no requisition.
Right here?
Oh, I see she has hers. I don't have mine.
Oh, I see it. It's right here.
Yes.
Yeah, it is there.
Here it is. I
Behind
think it's
what?
behind the integrated media. It's easy,
For my integrated meetings.
it's easy to miss. These booklets are like 1,000 pages long. I had a question in the meantime. I remember the
think I
last
have
time
it.
we did a technology upgrade. It was actually like 9 or 10
This one,
years
right?
ago when I got on the council and we had the big fat back TVs on here and they actually didn't work and none of the technology actually worked. It was so outdated, but here we are with the newer technology. But my question is there going to be any downtime on the chamber? Because I remember last time we had the upgrade, we were having meetings elsewhere for 3 to 4 months. So is that going to be the same here?
We're hoping that there are no disruptions. However, we will work with the interim city manager if
Yeah,
that becomes an
we
issue.
were holding them at the Chimboli Center, which we don't have right now, so.
We're working closely with the vendor to ensure that doesn't happen. I think there's always a chance, depending on how the project goes, but hopefully not.
Hopefully, because the work we did before was, it was much more substantial. They actually cut into the dais. We actually redid a lot of the woodwork here, and I would imagine this isn't as involved. It's more of just upgrading the technology.
It shouldn't be so invasive.
Are we still going to work on Granicus?
Yes,
Okay. So it's mostly just make sure that we can give the public the availability to participate online.
correct. And the translation through the broadcast means.
Okay, and the reason the way this was executed the way it was is so we can meet the, was it July 1st deadline?
Correct.
Okay, because if we went about it any other way, it would be 30, 60, 90 days, and then we would be past that point
Yes,
and unable to let the public participate when the law takes effect.
that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You good?
I see it now. I see it now because they just handed it to me. It's not in my binder, but in any case, I still don't understand how we can just cut a check for 200 without an agreement. We have the agreement for the professional services, but there is no agreement for the equipment.
There's no check, ma'am. After that, we process a purchase order. We don't do a check until after we have a PO, so.
Okay, but how are we doing all of that without an agreement in place?
So for the purchase of product, we're not required to have an agreement in place. The agreement is for the professional services and the installation portion. Product alone would be via a purchase order. There's no service that goes into that. It's simply the same as buying a product off of Amazon or elsewhere. So that is standard city practice. However, we would not exceed the signing authority, and that's why it's here before you.
So there's no procurement process for equipment?
There is standard process for equipment, that is correct. We typically will quote the product, which we have done. And that was a part of the overall proposal that we received from IMS.
They can't do the purchase until we authorize the funds
I
first.
can get it. It's just, it's fine.
Anyone else? Okay, motion on 7-4?
I just want to double check with our city attorney. Is everything here okay? Are we
Yes.
we all good?
Yes.
Okay, all right. With that, was there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Okay, that passes 4-1. 7-5.
Good evening, council members. Megan Taggart, Director of Economic and Community Development. This item will be presented by Brenda Magana.
You get your own introduction.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. The item before you tonight is a summary of the city's annual Housing Element Progress Report. California cities are required to submit an annual Housing Element Progress Report to the Governor's Office of Planning and Research and the California Department of Housing and Community Development, also known as HCD. The purpose of this report is to demonstrate the city's progress towards meeting the Regional Housing Needs Assessment. A total of 6,640 units have been allocated to the city of Palmdale for the 2021 through 2029 planning period. These units are distributed across various affordability levels. The housing element of the general plan identifies how the city will accommodate this allocation. It is important to note that while the city must ensure adequate residential land capacity to meet the RHNA location, it is not required to guarantee that units are constructed. In September 2022, the city adopted its general plan, Palmdale 2045, along with a comprehensive update to Title 17 of the PMC to ensure consistency between the two documents. These updates introduced additional land use designation and increased flexibility to facilitate residential development within multifamily and mixed-use zones. In addition, the city continues to refine internal processes to streamline application review where feasible. Staff regularly meets with development applicants, utility providers, and other community partners to ensure projects move through the development process as efficiently as possible. In 2025, the city issued building permits for 185 housing units, reflecting continued progress toward our RHNA goals. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Questions? Mr. Loa?
Yes, well, of course, the purpose of the city is not to actually construct any of this housing or to participate in the development of any of it. You know, we're to remove any restraints that there may be as far as our zoning laws are concerned, and our general plan, which we updated recently, I think reflects an attitude of build housing in all of these areas. But frankly, you called it progress. This is a housing element to report progress. It doesn't seem like there's really a lot of progress. And the complaint that I hear from developers, it is difficult for the process that the city makes developers go through in order to get permits issued. Could that not be a restraint in itself as far as the housing element is concerned, that our requirements are so strict and so difficult to overcome that it discourages developers from building?
Sure. We work with developers as much as possible, so if there's certain concerns that you're hearing, it'd be good to know so that we can refine our processes as necessary.
One of the concerns I've heard expressed is that phone calls are made, not responded to. They don't get calls back from your department. Emails are sent in, they're not responded to. That's some of the complaints that I've heard. That's one of the things, but that's outside of the process itself. And so that's an issue that remains, and it's something that has been a criticism of Development Department here for quite a while, and it doesn't seem like there's any change that has been made.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to know, I'm sorry, with the housing element that we've been assigned, it's not our choice, it's what is told to us to do. Not all cities have Joshua trees. Do they consider the impact and cost for our developers with these Joshua tree issues, and are they changing anything in their metrics to address that for cities that have Joshua trees as opposed to those cities that don't have Joshua trees?
No, and that is actually a huge hurdle to development in this area are the CEQA requirements for the Joshua trees. They're extremely stringent. You're not allowed to cut them down, and I believe that relocation is required under certain parameters, so.
Right, and it was my
No, they
understanding.
don't.
I was at the League of Cities meetings, and it was my understanding that if you, let's say we leave the Joshua trees where they're at, we build around them. Whoever's property that Joshua tree is on, they can never cut it down ever or face like a $25,000 fine. So, and I don't know that people are telling people when they buy these houses, hey, by the way, don't cut down your Joshua tree. I just think this creates a big issue for developers coming out to our area to build when they've got all these regulations. I'm perfectly comfortable moving them and transplanting them. I don't know how well they survive, but we can talk about that another day. I know that the League of Cities is working on this because I was just at the meeting with them. But I think that them assigning us such a large amount of housing that we have to build, they're not taking into consideration that we have to work within our environmental regulations in order to build those houses. And I wasn't sure who's addressing that with them. I mean, is there anybody reaching out to the people that issue the RENA numbers and saying, hey, we need you to pull back on those numbers because we have issues with environmental stuff with the Joshua trees? I don't know if anybody's addressing that.
We can definitely follow up with that. I like that approach. And just to give you more food for thought, it's not only the Joshua trees, but it's just the total rural landscape. I've seen some crazy things that from various departments of what they want us to do. Things like the crotches bumblebee. I think there's a toad and some sort of squirrel that are endangered. And all of these things they really do impact development because you have to go through CEQA and do the mitigating measures. And, to me, I'm being facetious, but at this point, it's almost like they want us to build a terrarium and let the, lizards run around in the bottom.
Yeah.
And
I just don't think maybe they think when they're issuing like 6,000 housing units we're required to build, I don't think it crosses their mind that, but they have a special issue with these Joshua trees. Maybe we can reduce the amount of houses that we're requiring them to build because not only does it take money, but it takes time to relocate all the Joshua trees to the preserve we may have one day. So, maybe we can send a letter or reach out to the people that issue the RENA numbers and are they aware of the special needs that our community has? So, just a thought.
So thanks for your report. A couple questions. So in the staff report, I just want to make sure that when we submit this to the state, that our numbers are accurate. If you take a look at the table, the numbers don't add up. So can we just fix that when it gets sent to the state? Our total allocation is 6640. It says that we've accomplished 896, but that doesn't equal the 5698, and the numbers in the other part of the table, they don't compute. So can we just make sure that that is fixed? But can we just go and look at housing application summary? I think it's it doesn't have page numbers on this thing. And part of the reason why I have to ask is because this is very difficult to read because the print is so small, but so it says housing application summary. Total housing applications submitted 97, right? Total proposed units in application received 1266. Total units approved 749. Total units disapproved 0. So we've approved everything?
So I do want to point out that this is a macro embedded spreadsheet that we get from HCD. So we put in numbers and it auto populates. So I can definitely look into this and get back to you.
No, that's this form. Hold on, pull it out. Sorry. That's this attachment form. That's that, right? But our staff report is those numbers need to be fixed.
Yes, the staff report, I agree. But you're talking about this page, correct? That I'm holding up?
This one?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
on
these
top?
are auto-populated when we put in and get generated in the spreadsheet. So let me look into that and I will definitely get back to the interim city manager. We can provide you.
So we can't see, in the staff report, and the other council members are looking at it now too, it's impossible to read this?
Absolutely impossible.
It's like you can't even. So this is the summary of, like, the sort of detailed report that goes into these numbers, but we can't read it. So I want to make sure, well, again, when we send it to the state, that it's legible, and that it makes sense and that the numbers correspond. But I'm just more curious about total housing units disapproved is 0. Is that real? We have not disapproved one applicant, 1 unit?
According to this, no.
Okay, so then, the differential between the number of proposed units, 1266, and the number of approved is 749. The differential is 497. What's going on with those?
I'd have to look at the spreadsheet because like I said, we auto input these and then HTD has a macro embedded Excel sheet that this goes into. So these numbers auto populate. So I'd have to see what their data is. As part of the data process, we also include applications that were applied for, and sometimes they're approved by planning, but maybe not through the building plan check process. So the spreadsheet asks us to annotate where they are in the process, so it should be populated from that data. So I can take a closer look at that and.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful. And it's really to dovetail off of what Councilmember Loa's concerns were, because we do get feedback that the process is difficult, that there are impediments. But if the true number is 0 or disapproved, I just want to make sure that that's accurate, because if they're telling us one thing and we have really actually not denied any applications, then we need to be able to respond accordingly to those developers that are submitting, that are telling us that they're not able to get things done.
So I do want to point out that I think might be a discrepancy here. Whenever there are developers, and I'm assuming, so I'm sorry, but if they're having difficulties through the plan check process, they still already are approved through planning. So they're working through other entities to get through the construction phase. So this spreadsheet identifies, like I said, it annotates different positions in the process. So this should have all of the approved units that we have.
What would be the reasons why an application gets denied or disapproved?
It would either be they don't meet the development standards. That would really be the only reason.
And so maybe if we can get a report back, and maybe to clean this thing up and some clarification on what those standards are, and really, is it truly that we have not denied one applicant?
Mayor and members of the City Council, and I'm speculating here, but I can see how Mr. Councilmember Loa raised his concerns, and that doesn't necessarily translate to the city denying the application. If something doesn't pencil because of CEQA requirements, because there's too many Joshua trees on the land, because for whatever reason the funding didn't come through, that doesn't mean the city denied it. That just means that the applicant couldn't move forward. In my couple of years I've been here, I haven't seen nothing come to council and it's been denied. Everything's been approved when it comes to housing as it's come to council. So I feel that when it doesn't fall through, it's not because of actions that the staff or the body takes, it's because of their own struggles within the organizations.
Okay, so can we just, at least maybe give me a report back at some point about the 497 differential? Like, what's going on with those? I guess they're applications that are pending, I'm not sure. That's my assumption, but if you could just sort of give us a status report on the pending 497, because that would be a significant improvement in terms of our housing development element goal, right? If we could attain those 497. Thank you.
Is there a deadline for when this housing element has to be filed?
Yes, April 1st.
So we can come back next meeting.
All right, so I pulled the item because I believe it was important to discuss. Jason, agree with you on this one. We had a really good discussion tonight. I actually did a lot of research on this going into the meeting to see exactly where we're at and how all this works. If the city isn't denying any applications, we really are business friendly, aren't we? If that's the case. I haven't heard a lot of complaints lately from any developers. I do know that we have over 1,200 units or 1,200 housing units and more on the pipeline that have been fully entitled or in the process of being entitled. What that means is it's technically ready to go, but it's being held up by financing, construction costs. Like our city manager said, financing is a really big issue right now for the developers to start building. I know in my district, Ana Verde, there's Ana Verde, Nuevo, and Ritter Ranch, and they've been sitting dormant for a while. We have the infrastructure in the ground through CFDs. We've got everything ready to go, but the financing's not there. It's just the product's not ready yet. Good news is that a lot of the housing units that have been built and are being built are market rate, which are good because that points to good signs for our local economy. That means jobs are coming here, that means people are moving here, that means there's opportunity. As far as the RENA housing goes, that's been a little slow, but we have to realize that that's tied to other sources of funding and other things that are beyond our control. So I appreciate Councilmember Betancourt bringing up the Joshua trees, because you look around and we have a ton of land. If it were up to me, we'd be building everywhere. There's a ton of land, but there's stuff like Joshua trees, fault lines, flood areas that make all of this, what seems to be completely usable land, very difficult to use. So when you add up all the factors, you can kind of see why things aren't getting built as fast as one would like. I've lived in a neighborhood that's been unfinished for over, I think, 25 years, 20 years. And eventually it will get done. A lot of those units are entitled and ready to go, but I do believe when the interest rates drop, that is when we'll see construction pick up. Also, when we have more companies and more people moving up here, that makes it economically viable for the developers to pull the trigger and start financing these big projects. I've seen what these developers in housing, they do now is they build a few models and then they start selling them. So you go in, you pick the model you want, you qualify for the financing, and then they build the house for you. That is how it's done. Historically in the past, I remember in the 90s and early 2000s, they would just build complete tracts, no questions asked. And you'd go in, you find which house you want, and off to the races. But those days of development are over. Everything is build to suit now, and that's just kind of the way the housing and the development market works. So I think we're doing what we need to do to get these projects approved and get them entitled. It's just waiting for the market and the right conditions. And as far as the market affordability housing, that's tied to other factors as well. I know in I think District 1 and 3, we have a couple low-income and workforce housing projects that we just approved. So.
I'm 5.
I'm 3.
Oh, sorry, 5, 3. It's confusing because 1 goes right next to 3. One goes right next to 5, the way the districts are now. But either way, I think the city's doing what we need to do. I'm hoping that the economy picks up, the interest rates drop, and we can have the developers start pulling the trigger on these housing projects, because a lot of them are ready to go. The infrastructure's in the ground, they're entitled, track plans are laid out. It's just that it's not ready yet, unfortunately. But if it were up to me, there'd be housing and construction everywhere.
I think we all agree with that we would want to have as much development moving forward, building our economy, building our houses, get some new homes. Here's the thing for me, is we can't control the state with their regulations on Joshua trees or CEQA or transportation or mileage tax. We can't control any of that. What we can control is our policies. And I just want to make sure that we are being developer-friendly and flexible, because they might come up about a huge obstacle with something else, and maybe we can ease the burden a little bit by having some flexibility. I don't mean give the house away or whatever, but I just want to make sure that we have some flexibility and that we're cooperating as much as possible with our developers, because we need new houses, we need new businesses, we need a lot here in Palmdale. But if we're going to be as rigid as some of these other agencies are, it's an obstacle. So I don't want to be an obstacle with our city policies. So I'm hoping that we can reach out to our developers, find out what their obstacles are, see if it's something we're doing that's making things worse. So if we can do that in the future, that would be great.
Cool.
And
all right. Anything else?
Just one more thing. Can you get the report back to me? I did some math, and it's adding up on my side, even though these numbers are a little confusing. But can you get a report back to see where the numbers are?
Yeah. Okay, well, you said we have to submit it by April 1st, right?
Correct.
Is there anything that would preclude us from bringing it back next council meeting, cleaned up?
We'd be late to submitting it with HCD.
Why would you be late if we have a mid-meeting in March, so you can get it in by April?
That is the week of National League of Cities.
Oh, right, and our council meeting's canceled. Like I was concerned about last time.
I'm confident in the document, and if there's any revisions,
Please don't add it.
they can be made, but from what I've seen, I think we're doing a good job, and I think we're on the right track, and if that is the case, we haven't turned down many, or if not any, applications. I'd say we're being business friendly. We can't lower the interest rates, and we can't force developers to build. So, motion to approve.
I was going to ask, I was going to ask one more question. And Mayor Pro Tem Bishop is correct that there are many dozens of units in the pipeline. Isn't there a portion of the housing element report that would include houses or dwellings that are in the pipeline, so that could be reported back to Sacramento?
So it is part of our housing element as future developments that we do have Anna Verde and Quail Valley and Falcon Glen all accounted for in the actual housing element, but this is just the report for 2025. I do also want to point out that as a charter city, we have used our authority to also impose urgency ordinances, which have extended the life of many maps throughout the city to continue those, to let those be active and give them the opportunity to develop.
Well, I appreciate Mr. Bishop ferreting that out of the facts and the research he did, but it would have been nice to have it in our report, at least to make us feel like, hey, we are making progress.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Great. Motion? Is there a
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Hey.
Okay, that passes 4-1. 7-6. 7-6. There we go.
Had to play musical chairs for a moment. Good evening, council and mayor, here to provide you a little bit of background on this particular item. My name is Carrie Smith, the Parks and Recreation Director. The item before you is a recommendation to adopt Resolution CC 2026-013, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale authorizing the city manager's signature authority up to $350,000 per transaction for the contracting of performers and entertainers. So that's performers and entertainers only. As a matter of background, with the growing number of entertainment venues regionally, artist prices have become increasingly competitive and volatile. Securing higher caliber entertainment often requires the ability to respond quickly and during active negotiations. Therefore, establishing an appropriate signature policy is necessary to ensure the city can act swiftly and secure entertainment services in a competitive marketplace. Currently, the city manager's signature authority is $300,000, so we're asking for an additional $50,000 to give us a little more flexibility as we secure entertainment for our concerts and events. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you for your report. The only reason why I pulled this was because it seems that we're incrementally increasing city manager unilateral authority on a variety of levels.
Okay.
We just increased it to 300,000 in August, and 6 months later, we're now increasing it to 350.
Yes.
I have a concern because of the history of difficulty and challenges and litigation, quite frankly, that we have faced because of improper awarding of contracts under that unilateral authority, not under this one, but under prior administrations. I just have concerns that we keep sort of incrementally increasing all of these over time, and we really should have oversight as council, and there's got to be some sort of report to us on, maybe we can do a quarterly, a mid-year, annual report back on all contracts that have been awarded unilaterally under the city manager's authority, because it just, we're slowly but surely increasing them, and then we never actually find out what in total has been awarded under unilateral authority. So I've requested that previously. There's been challenges in me getting that information, but I just wanted to state for the record that I understand the need for special events, and I know you guys are doing, a great job in attracting quality talent, and time is of the essence. Hollywood, time is money. I get it.
Thank you.
But my concern is more broad with regard to the unilateral authority provided under the city manager's position. Anyway, with that, we can move forward.
So, city manager, what is your current authority other than for entertainment?
Currently at 125.
Okay, so I've been around the block a few times with the council. We had one city manager that we restricted to $30,000.
You remember the day, huh?
I do remember the day. They could, anything over 30,000, they had to come to council. What happened with that is it caused delays. The delays cost more money, then we had to increase everything. It became an obstacle to getting business done in the city. So slowly they convinced me, and I was the penny pincher. That's what another council person told me to my face all the time. I understand that we have to do this because I personally am tired of cover bands, of memorial bands, of people that, imitation bands. I would like to see us get some quality entertainment here, and I realize it's very expensive. And if you don't make the decision that, within a few days of offering, the price goes up or they go away.
Right.
So this I understand, but I am still that penny pincher. And I had to have that explained to me that this was only for entertainment because I about had a heart attack when I saw that amount of money. So.
I just say, this is the Antelope Valley is a market of 500,000 people. We should be able to draw big name acts. And ever since we came out of COVID, the price for entertainers has skyrocketed. They are raking it in, and I think that we probably have already lost out on some good talent that we didn't have, so.
Yes.
Anybody else have anything to say on this?
We definitely put our best foot forward. The amphitheater is a beautiful venue. We've got a great reputation there, so we're definitely putting our best foot forward to bring unique and exciting entertainment to Palmdale.
Great. I'd like to entertain a motion. Unless you-
One of the reasons I pulled the item
Yes.
was to, and I totally understand wanting to secure talent. It's like going and buying tickets for a concert. If you wait, you hit refresh, they're gone. So same thing with performers.
Yes.
And your team, the Parks team, has been doing a great job. Over the years, I've seen the level of entertainment and the quality of the shows and just the atmosphere at the amphitheater just get better and better and better, and the crowds just get bigger and bigger, especially coming out of the pandemic. That was hard to get people to come back out again. One of the reasons I pulled the item, and this has been a sticking point for few of the council members over the years, is that once, I asked that we add to this, once the talent is secured, that council be made aware of who the talent is and when they'll be performing, because that's historically something that we find out after the fact.
The artist controls the release of that information. Certainly, we can share that information with the city manager, and he can speak with you certainly in confidence. But those are just kind of the rules I have to abide by. But
Right.
certainly, there's information that you're able to receive.
I brought it up earlier in today with the city manager and ran it by him, and I understand there's policy and all that, but
Yes.
that has been, as you know, a sticking point for the council members to be made aware who's coming to town, when they're coming to town, especially if we're going to be.
Last minute, so Carrie, perhaps you can explain, why does an artist not want to release their information? I mean, I think if I was an artist, I'd want everyone to know where I'm playing.
It depends on what other acts they've got booked within the area. There are radius clauses and conditions. There's oftentimes one or two artists in our lineup where other venues need to launch their ticket sales first before I can launch mine. So while there's a mountain range between us and LA, there's a 100-mile radius that we need to work within, and we need to be good rule followers.
I was just curious. I just didn't understand why it was such a secret. So,
Yes.
Okay, now I understand. Thank you.
Yes, it's market-driven, yes.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? This one passes unanimously.
Thank you.
We are on to 7-8.
7-7 or 7-8? 7-7 was approved.
7-8, we didn't pull 7-7.
No, 7-8.
7-8.
Oh, that's right.
7-8.
Councilmember Lowell approved this one.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. Lee Torres, Public Works Director. This item before you is to approve an agreement with Mariposa Tree Management, Inc., United Public Services, Inc., and West Coast Arborists Incorporated for $1,275,000 each over 3 years with two optional 1-year extensions. City maintains over 20,000 trees throughout the city. Urban forestry program using combination of in-house staff as well as contractors. The services include pruning, removals, stump grinding, hazard assessments, emergency responses. We released the RFP back in November 4th, and for public advertising in Planet Bids, 3 proposals were received from qualified firms meeting the RFP requirements for experience and technical approach. Sufficient funds are budgeted through the fiscal year 25-26, and future funding will be included in annual operating budget. That concludes my presentation. I'm here to answer any question you have. I can also bring up our Deputy Public Works Director to answer any procurement questions you may have.
I pulled the item, and first of all, I understand that there's different expertise among these 3 contractors. So all the 3 that made bids are the ones that were awarded these contracts. And I mean, it's good reason, as was explained in the briefing. I pulled it because I want to emphasize how important, at least for me, and I'm sure it is for the rest of the council, to receive the bid information on these different proposals that are being made, particularly when, as we saw a little earlier, there were multiple in an earlier one. In this particular one, I couldn't open the attachments. And so I just want to emphasize that part. It seems like it's an appropriate exercise to do it this way, but I want to say it openly. I want to see these bids every time, and I'd like to be notified, perhaps by text, that that has been sent out by email, and so I can check it out.
Will do.
Anyone else on 7-8?
I asked this earlier in briefing, but I forgot. I think the public would find this fascinating. How many trees are in the city of Palmdale that we manage?
24,000.
24,000. That's a lot of trees. That's so many trees, we have to have 3 contractors to help us manage it.
Correct.
That's a ton of trees. That is so many trees. Mike's over there.
I'm just so surprised that none of them were local. We used to have Tip Top, Asplin's, Kelly's Tree Service. There was another one that had recently started up about 2 years ago. I don't know what happened to them. But there used to be a lot of tree trimmers out here. What happened to them all?
Yes, ma'am. I can speak to the local contractor that we did have. Once we completed our tree assessments and we discussed the 106 square miles and the 24,856 trees. His company size, it didn't pencil for him to move forward
Okay.
for bringing in the amount of crews that
Right.
we're talking about doing.
Okay.
The tax burden was too heavy, and he did a phenomenal job for us, a phenomenal job. And we were lucky enough to have a relationship with a local contractor that he would be able to show us and open the books and go, hey, at this point in my, I've been in business a long time. It's just, I can't do this.
Okay.
So it was, it was hard for us to let a local guy go. But at the same time, based on the deferred maintenance that we have, in order for us to get this under control within the next year and then move forward with what we call PMs, bringing on these 3 firms is a force multiplier for us. So this is our commitment to not only the council, but the public in response to their emails and their concern, as well as the fire department. So we understand that the maps change. We understand that costs go up. We also understand that now is the time to move. We'll get these things under control. We're not saying that we're going to contract out for the next 5 years. But what we are going to do is study it. We're going to know the unit costs. We're going to look at where we're at as a city, and then we'll provide an analysis and bring it forward through the city manager to bring forward to you, either with a hybrid approach or for our local 986 to take that over.
So on the tree count that you gave us, is that just city property, or does that include the count of trees on people's private property?
And I'll look to.
Because I have several trees on mine. I'm just wondering if they were counted.
It does not, but what we do have prepared, and it is available through the city manager's office, we have every tree that we take care of the 486 broken out. So we have them broken out by your district. We look at canopy disparity, or canopy equity, if you will. We look at the amount that we have in parks and all those things. And that really shapes our design standards as we go forward in development. You know, in some of the areas that have lower canopies, we look at putting in those medians. There's LMDs. I have
Well,
everything.
the reason I asked that was, I'm just thinking, if we're maintaining all the trees on the city property and playgrounds and schools or whatever, tree trimming is not cheap. I've had mine done several times. And I'm wondering if we could set aside some of our tax money that we're getting from everyone to help the handicapped, the elderly, the veterans, the disabled, whatever it may take, to help them control the trees on their private property. I'm just saying that as something to think about. Because they do cause fires. They cause electrical fires. I mean, I know that Edison used to come out and trim people's trees. I don't know that they're doing that very frequently now or not. I don't know. But I do know several elderly people that really need some tree trimming, and yet they have a fixed income. They don't have $1,200 or $2,500 to get those trees trimmed down. So maybe we can, at our council retreat, do some brainstorming and find a way that we can help people that are in need to have these things done so their house doesn't burn down and they don't, screw up the electrical lines or whatever. That's just a thought.
Yes, ma'am. We do have contracts through housing that are identified. So what we will do is we'll look at the identified funding and see if there's potential there for us to go in and do that through a program, especially through low to moderate income mapping. So we will definitely look at doing that and bring forward a couple of proposals through city manager, the interim city manager, to council, so that way we're able to make solid decisions and move forward for those that are on fixed incomes, and the veterans, the disabled veterans, and those folks.
Yeah, I think they're just in my previous experience in another jurisdiction, overseeing the entire urban forestry for the city of Los Angeles, there are prohibitions, and there are for using public funds for private property benefit. So we just got to be very careful there. But there are, as you mentioned, utility. So line clearance is mandated. So utilities they're mandated to ensure that that there's a certain space along all utility lines so that there does not create a fire hazard. So if that is an issue for a property owner, they should contact directly the utility because it is their mandated obligation to do that line clearance and the tree debris removal around the lines. But you hit the nail on the head when my one question was, because when I think it was a year, Mr. Armstrong, we've been having this conversation about landscape and our urban forestry and building up our public works department so that we can keep this work in-house, so that we don't have to contract out. Last time we entered into contract negotiation, that was a real part of our conversation and part of the negotiations. And the goal was to utilize that contract to its full extent and then bring the work in-house. My only concern with this is $4 million worth of work. And I know we just have some of our folks that just recently received certifications as arborists and whatnot. And so I just want to make sure that we still keep our eyes on the prize and keeping our work in-house, building up our internal workforce and our city workforce so that we don't have to keep contracting out and that we can create local jobs here. Sure.
Yeah, so that is the end game, right? I'm the chief steward for the Teamsters, Local 986, and the end game is to bring it all in-house. Unfortunately, there was a contract that we are no longer in. Deferred maintenance is real. The urban forest is probably one of our most important assets for quality of life, monetary value, and these trees take 30, 40, 50 years to grow. We can't get that back. So from a union standpoint, it's integral that we push this through in order to provide the services for the community. I would like to see this come back home one day. I would like to see us develop a hybrid program, right? Where we can work with the contractors, work with internal staff, but we're just not there yet. So in order to protect these assets, we have to get this done. I would love to pick those conversations back up with council and work towards getting this a true urban forestry program. That's our passion.
Yeah.
Those are arborists here, right? 3 arborists.
Thank you for what you do.
Myself, Paul and Steve.
It is dangerous work. You guys are climbing, I mean, this is not easy.
And there's a massive amount of liabilities involved.
100%.
It's very important that we protect our urban forests. So I would like to see this go through, and I would like to continue to collaborate with council, with Mr. Livingston, Mr. Mendez, Mr. Torres, my leadership team, on how we can strategically bring this back, something similar to CPP. Let us put together a plan, a 1-3-5. Let us put ROI on the table, right? Let us show you that we can do this, and we can do this well. We are the best in the business, hands down, right? And we're just working towards that. So yes, we
Yeah.
did talk, Andrea. It's coming. That conversation's not done yet. I want to see it back home.
Good, well,
right?
thank you for that. I know you can do it. And
100%.
I've got my full faith in you and our team internally,
Yes.
which is why I'd rather keep the money in-house and train up our forces
Me too.
and create a specialized unit for our urban forestry.
Absolutely.
So that we don't have to contract out, $4 million.
And I wish we were there.
Yes,
Andrea.
and I
We're
got
not
it.
there
And
yet,
look,
but we're
I'm with
going
you
to
all the
continue.
way, but I just want to make sure that we keep that conversation going, that it just doesn't fall flat.
As long as I'm a City of Palmdale employee and I represent Teamsters Local 986, that conversation is always on the table. Not just for this contract, but all contracts, right? We are best in class. We provide the best services possible. We're going to continue to do so. No doubt about it, okay?
Thank you,
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Mayor, I have a point there. So if we approve this tonight, then any issue where we could keep it in-house and give it to our public works and our arborists here locally, we'll have to wait at least 3 years, plus 2 possible with 1-year extensions.
We have termination provisions.
Mayor, members of the council, termination provisions are embedded in all the contracts. But there is a lead up for that. And we've been working with the union, we've been working with them. The minute I got in, I think that those were our conversations for not just this contract, several other contracts throughout the city. So that is our goal. Our public works team could expand. Our goal is to keep many of those large contracts, not just the tree contracts, but also landscape maintenance contracts. And we have several other contracts that we want to bring in. And we're working together as a team to hopefully get to that point.
Just to dovetail off of that, the contracts that we have the termination provisions, but they also have liquidated damages provisions and a variety of other enforcement mechanisms that if they are not meeting our standards, that we can terminate early without any recourse, without any negative consequences to the city. So I just want to make sure we're all clear. Yes, it is a long-term contract. It is 3 years plus 2 1-year options. And it is a lot of money, and the goal is to bring it back, but we can, if necessary, if they're not holding up their end of the deal, we can terminate or we can hold them accountable, and then we can refocus our energy on bringing that work in-house.
All right, just to go over everything real quick, and then I'm gonna make a motion. We've got 24,000 trees. The previous contractor didn't have enough bandwidth. We need 3 contractors just to get caught up on deferred maintenance. I would imagine a lot of these trees are in landscape maintenance districts that back up to houses, that they're the areas that are between the sidewalks and the brick walls. When I was many years ago, I used to drive around and be like, I wonder who takes care of those? Oh, they each have their own landscape maintenance district. They all have taxes that go into a certain vault that pay for the maintenance. But I have had a few residents over the years reach out to me and say, hey, Austin, this tree's growing way over into my backyard. That's the kind of issue I think we're referencing more so than anything, not just the parks, the stuff at Dry Town, the amphitheater. I mean, those need to be trimmed. We need arborists for those too, but specifically it's the trees in the landscape maintenance districts that back up to homes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's where the bulk of the trees are. That's where the bulk of the maintenance is. And that's where we need a company, 3 companies, multiple bucket trucks, probably 50 to 100 guys working for a year or 2 straight to get caught up.
Yeah, those trees are part of the assets, correct.
Yeah. Okay. With that said, I'll make a motion to approve.
We got a motion and a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously.
Good luck, guys.
We already approved 7-9, but I just want to say that, yes, East Avenue T is way overdue. We were trying to work with the quarries. A lot of it was their responsibility. We're tired of waiting for them, so we're just going to get it done. That's why it's on this agenda now. All right, 7.
Could we take a brief break?
Let's get through consent calendar. We got one more, 7:10.
Thank you. I pulled that one just because I just wanted to make sure that I was clear on, and I tried to reach out to the city clerk's office before the meeting, but was unable to. But my recollection, so if it's on page 6 of February, is it 3rd? February 3rd's minutes. And the paragraph is the one that begins with Councilmember Loa. It says, Councilmember Loa requested scheduling a meeting to discuss city manager candidates and to conduct council interviews. A motion was made by Councilmember Loa and seconded by Councilmember Alarcon. Council voted on the motion with Councilmembers Loa and Alarcon voting in favor, and with Mayor Olson, Mayor Pro Tem Bishop, and Councilmember Betancourt voting in opposition. Mayor Pro Tem Bishop spoke in support of moving forward with the subcommittee process. But we held interviews, so I just want to make sure that that's an accurate reflection of what happened in that. So we move forward with the actual interview, so I don't.
Yeah, I think these are old, this is February 3rd is the one you're looking at, because
Yeah.
this item was brought back for clarity on the legislative and litigation update regarding the federal immigration enforcement.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's an accurate reflection, because we actually did hold interviews
Right.
and we eliminated the
Right.
ad hoc committee. So I just want to make sure that this accurately reflects that. And as I understood it, it was Councilmember Betancourt who voted with us to have those interviews.
There are there's two sets of minutes in here, the
Yeah.
February 3rd and then February 18 right behind it.
Right. But that day, I just want to make sure that that's accurate. But look, we're neither here or there, we're already beyond the process. I just want to make sure that the record is accurately reflected.
Okay.
Because we did in fact actually conduct interviews. So the effort to eliminate the ad hoc committee was successful. But in any case, that's all I wanted to raise.
Okay.
Do we want to take a
So-
break?
Well, hold on. Do you want to make are we approving it with that amendment?
I want to
'Cause
just
I
make
wanna make
sure,
sure
can
that
we can approve them contingent upon sort of city clerk
To
just
review?
double checking?
Yeah.
To make sure that it is an accurate reflection of what happened in the course of events over those 2 meetings.
I'll second that motion.
Was that a motion?
Thank you, yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes unanimously. Let's take a 5-minute break.
Make it 7.
That means 10.
Break, okay.
That means 10, I gotta go.
We good? Okay, we're back. We're now to section 8, new business. Can we get a staff report on 8.1?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. So the item before you is to approve the employment agreement between the City of Palmdale and Salvador Mendez. On February 12th, City Council extended to Mr. Mendez a conditional offer of employment subject to a background check. The City Council had an opportunity to provide questions, and the background investigator responded. The background check is a decertifying process, and Mr. Mendez passed. The successful background check was completed by Curry Investigations, Inc. Also included with this is the contract, and there is an amended version that was provided to you on the dais. I had used a previously prepared contract and was informed by the city manager that the amount was incorrect, so it's been modified. Pursuant to the Brown Act, I have to read these 7 points as an oral report out for the city manager's contract for compensation adjustments. So number 1, compensation will be paid at an annual rate of $345,000 and allows for an annual cost of living increase if such raise is provided to full-time employees. Employees shall receive an annual performance evaluation and meet established goals. 2, the term of this agreement is 2 years, ending on March 3rd, 2028. Employee is at will and serves at the pleasure of a majority of the City Council and shall be entitled to 12 months severance pay provided termination occurs without cause, as outlined in the agreement. 3, employee shall receive a $500 monthly automobile allowance for engaging and conducting city business both during and outside normal business hours. 4, employees shall receive $2,000 annually as a technology allowance to assure regular, sick, and reliable communication with City Council. 5, vacation, sick, administrative, and floating holiday leave bank accruals and benefits shall accrue at various rates described in the agreement. 6, the city will provide for disability, health, life insurance, and retirement as outlined in the agreement. The city will contribute to a health reimbursement account in the amount of $1,500. 7, the city will pay for the professional dues and subscriptions of employee, as well as standard travel expenses and education seminars necessary for professional development, continuing education, and official and other functions of the city. And that concludes my report. I'm here if you have questions.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to make an initial point, and that is that from closed session, it was my understanding, since this background check was going to be conducted with possibly sensitive information in it, that no matter what, it was going to come back to closed session. And so for it to come out in open means that it basically ties our hands insofar as any concerns that there might be that should only be considered in closed session. And I was disappointed to see that it was in the open, which I expressed to you earlier, Mayor. So I continue to think that there's some items. It's interesting that you called it a successful background check. I thought it was supposed to be an objective background check. And it just sounds like, hey, we're just going to shepherd this through, maybe bulldoze this through, so that any dissent doesn't have an opportunity to really discuss it, because we really can't talk about some of these things out here.
So I thank you for raising that point initially. That was exactly my point. In closed session, we had discussions about, and it was a contingent appointment based on various other factors. We received an email with the report last night at 9:34 p.m. That is ridiculous. And then we don't have the opportunity to discuss the report in closed session before we award the contract. That makes absolutely no sense to me at all. If we can't, and then the email says there are some legal issues relative to the privacy concerns of background information. So we clearly can't talk about it in public forum. We get this report at 9:30 last night, and we're expected to award the single most important position in the city without having the benefit of a closed session conversation about the background investigation that was conducted and any subsequent questions or concerns. That is incredibly problematic, and I can't, with that, cannot move forward. I can't support it. It's just, it defies logic that we get something that council can't discuss amongst ourselves without a Brown Act violation. We get an email Monday, March 2nd, 9:34 p.m. with the report saying that there are privacy concerns and we can't talk about it, it's all confidential, but yet we're being asked to award a contract today. It's just unconscionable, and I cannot support it.
Well, I think, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but it seems to me that we ought to have this go to the closed session tonight. And if not tonight, then next meeting. I would move to do that.
And I would second to add this to our closed session agenda for next council meeting, because there's,
My understanding that that's what we agreed to in closed session.
we should have, we should be able to have the benefit of a closed session conversation about a report, about confidential information for the most important position that we are awarding.
I can say that there was some discontent with some of our council members during our last closed session. I asked if you have anything negative that's being told to you, if you have informants that are telling you things or making complaints, please send them my way. I'm not going to believe gossip and hearsay. I need to hear it from the original person's mouth. Send me a letter, give me a call, send me a text, put me in contact with the people that are saying bad things. Nothing for a month.
But it,
Zero.
no, it wasn't for a month.
I got nothing.
It was 2 weeks, but your request wasn't for the council members to send it to you directly. The request was to send it to HR, and that they were going to consolidate it, and
Well,
that you
I
specifically
will-
said you wanted to see the full report before we move forward. And we get it at
And I
9:30
got-
last night?
out of the complaints from the two of you, I'm just gonna say the two of you, I said, show me the proof. I got nothing.
And we will in closed session, but it's not agendized for closed session. And so we need to be able to have a conversation about this background report that we get at 9:30 PM last night.
It was inaccurate. Perhaps I sent my information to the city attorney, and then I was told that it should be directed instead to Ms. Dalby, which I did. And the reason that there is a statement regarding the two persons that I recommended should be talked to is because I requested that. So you're incorrect regarding that, because that's what I understood I had to do.
But you did. The way that I understand it is you had the opportunity to put forward the request for interviews. It went to Ms. Dobby. Ms. Dobby forwarded it to the background investigator. The background investigator contacted those people, and then they wrote out the summary of what occurred.
Which we got at 9:30 last night. Mayor, you talk about stronger together, and we should be able to move forward as one in unison. For us to not be able to have a unified closed session discussion about a report that we got at 9:30 last night about the appointment of the most important position in our city, that doesn't sound to me like, I mean, there is clearly some opposition to, and some concern and some reticence in the appointment, and there still needs to be some conversation and things that needs to be fleshed out. For us to get a report last night that's 9:30 PM that says we've got confidential information, so we can't talk about it, and it's on the public agenda without the benefit of a closed session conversation, does not sound to me like an effort to build camaraderie, to be able to move forward as a unified entity.
Is there any financial issue or problem if we were to table this item and discuss it in closed session next meeting?
No. It would just delay the appointment.
Yep.
I just want to throw this out there. We've been working on the city manager recruitment since last year. I think it was October, November last year. We went out, we did applications, we did interviews. We had a closed session 2 weeks ago. I understand there's some contention with some of the council members, and sometimes that's what it is. You know, it's hard to keep. After years of doing this, I've seen it's hard to keep 5 people happy. It's a very difficult job for a city manager. Yes, we did get the background report. From what I understood from our last meeting is that we were waiting to get that. I got this 3-page report. It says confidential, but it's talking about the information that we were concerned about in our last discussion that has been vetted and cleared.
It doesn't fully
So-
flesh out all of the issues. And if we want to talk about them, I can talk about them, but I don't think that it's
I'd
going to be
like to
beneficial for our
finish
city.
my sentence, please. So, I understand there's contention. I get this is a big hire. It's tough. I've been on this council 10 years. This is the first time I've actually had the ability to shape the decision of city manager. When I got here, we had a city manager that was already here and appointed for 2 or 3 years. The city manager after that, I voted no. City manager after that, I was outvoted on. So I appreciate the opportunity being on the subcommittee and working with the rest of the council after the fact, going through the interviews and doing all the process. And this is what we found, and I made my recommendation from the subcommittee. I made my recommendation the last couple meetings we had, and it's tough that we're in this situation where we have what appears to be kind of a split vote. But my position hasn't changed. I believe that Mr. Mendez has integrity. I think he's got the institutional knowledge from being here for the past couple years, and I think he has the ability to lead the city. I think he's done a good job with the staff and the department heads, and I've seen good leadership come out of the city manager's office since I've been here. So my position hasn't changed, and I believe, even to Mr. Gallego's point, he said, thank you for doing the background and research. We just didn't merely appoint someone like we have in the past. We actually went through, we did the diligence, we had the discussions, and here we are now. So,
Not about this.
Okay, Mayor?
Nothing was discussed about this.
If you're done, Mr. Bishop?
yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So, I have concerns about the report itself, the background report, which we can't talk about out here.
Right.
Okay? I mean, we just can't. And I was rather surprised about some parts of it. So I think we should take it to a closed session. It's the appropriate thing to do. And the motion's been made, it's been seconded, and I hope we can do it that way.
I think there's a lot to be said also, Councilmember Loa. I think for the most part, our listening public and our population know that Mr. Loa and I typically don't agree on a lot of things. But on this, we agree, and there's a reason for it. And it's not just one reason, there are several reasons for it, and that should be heeded. We just gotta be very careful. With all the prior city manager appointments, we have ended up in litigation that has been costly, and we keep taxing our residents, but we keep getting ourselves into these messes. And we need to be more careful, more diligent, and there's nothing that, as it was just mentioned by our city attorney, there's nothing that precludes us from just waiting for another, however, till our next council meeting to have a closed session discussion, to follow up, to make sure that we dot all our i's and cross all our t's to make sure that we're all clear on what direction this city will be moving.
I have thoughts myself, but first, we have to take public comment, so I want to do that now.
Sorry.
If anybody from the public wishes to speak on 8.1, now is the time.
We have David Harris.
Mr. Harris.
With great trepidation, he approaches.
Closed session's always a good thing. I'm here to speak on what I've witnessed the last 8 months. And what I've witnessed is a interim city manager willing to take my call, willing to take my meeting, willing to give me the time I need. I've seen the interim city manager just this evening answer multiple questions from the dais. I've seen him circulate around the room and shake hands and check in with people. I see a staff that seems to be happy. And I do see a city, Mr. Loa, as you're always pointing out, that, the trash is getting picked up and the water's on and the fires are being put out and Public Works is here. And what we saw tonight between private and union discussions is a good thing. I'm pretty picky on who I employ, but I'm with Mr. Bishop on this one, that Mr. Mendez has done a good job from what I've seen. Now, what you have in front of you is something different, and sometimes it's good to look at that. I don't have that information, but from what I've seen as a business person here in the city of Palmdale, which we have our business license in, I feel secure with our interim city manager, and I feel if I was on the dais, I would be voting for Mr. Menendez, but I don't know what I just heard. So I don't know what I don't know, but I'll leave that with that. So thank you.
We have Jason Zink.
I'm not saying that Sal Menendez isn't a nice guy. He seems like a great guy and everything. Menendez? Mendez. Sorry about that.
He's not one of the Menendez brothers. He's Mendez.
But I was surprised to see it on the agenda. I was surprised that we didn't hear about all the other applications and who they were and what part of the country they came from or state. I thought there would be a lot more transparency, to tell you the truth. I think it's common sense that it should go, what Lo and Andrea said, that this needs to go into closed session before, I think it's wrong that a report just comes out a day before or the night before meeting. I have a lot of questions. I've been saying that we need somebody to run the 6th largest city in LA County, someone of high caliber, somebody who can build housing units. The reason the state says we need 6,000 is because we need 6,000, not because of anything else. We need it. I've said many times, meet with me. Let's go over the road paving. Let's go over the trees. Let's go over basic city stuff, functions. And I have yet to, be asked to be involved in this. I haven't seen public input with Measure AV or town halls or Zoom meetings or anything like that. So I've been very disappointed. I believe when you hire somebody, you need to have benchmarks. You're going to do this, 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 and this within 6 months, within a year, and within your 2-year contract. Whether it's doubling social media followers, paving roads, guaranteeing that all the signs will be replaced that need to be replaced within 90 days. To me, that's like simple. If I was a new sheriff in town, that'd be the first thing I did. But we're not there yet to appoint a city manager. And I think it's just common sense that we need a little bit more time. I can really help this city solve a lot of problems, from housing, from maintenance issues. I got a very visionary, good mind. My father was in development all his life, built 108 Motel 6s across the country. I mean, we did Lake LA. We got a lot. One thing I didn't like is we're hiring a lot of people that don't even live here. Every time we hire somebody or the workers that don't live here, that's money taken out of our economy. They're not buying cars in Palmdale Auto Mall. They're not shopping at the mall or local restaurants. Every time we do this, we're hurting
Thank you.
our city.
Anyone else? Mr. Gallego?
Yeah, apparently I was a little premature earlier. Didn't realize that. Look, I want to echo what Mr. Harris said. I've had nothing but good interactions with Mr. Mendez. Takes my calls, sits down when I want to sit down with him, and I appreciate that very much. But as Mr. Harris also said, I'm not privy to the stuff that you guys have that you're looking at. I just want to say that in light of the last 2 city managers we've had here and what debacles they turned out to be, I think it would be very prudent to make sure that you did everything humanly possible to make sure that this is the right person before. And, if there's no cost to it, what's the harm? 2 weeks? Shouldn't be any big deal. So I hope you'll look at it from that standpoint. And Sal, if you turn out to be the guy, I hope you're okay being patient for another couple weeks. Thank you, guys.
Any other speakers on this item? Okay, we're going to close public comment on 8.1. Did you already speak? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll just chime in and say something. Thank you for public comments. This isn't easy. I own and run a small business myself. Employing people, managing people and personalities, clients, it's probably one of the most difficult things one can do. I feel lucky to have a chance. Like I said, this time I actually have an opportunity to shape who the city manager is going to be. And I think after years of running my business, I've gotten a pretty good feel of people, character, and people who have integrity, and somebody who has proven they want to do right by the city. Everything I've seen and everything I've been shown, I don't see anything being problematic. If I would hire Sal in any other situation, based on the interactions, based on his professionalism, based on the fact that at every moment I've seen him do what's best for the city. And that's all we could ever really ask is, please do right by the city of Palmdale. And I've seen that time and time again. And it can be tough in this situation because there's a lot of special interests. There's a lot of outside influence. There's a lot of things that city managers get pressure from, department heads, public, 5 council members that all want different things at the same time. So there's no such thing as a perfect candidate or a perfect person. But from my experience, everything I've seen from the interviews, we've been doing this, I think, for 4 or 5 months, going through the process. I am very confident that Mr. Sal Mendez would make a good city manager for the city of Palmdale. I feel confident the way I've seen him work with staff, the way he's had those difficult conversations with us and people of the public. He does very good at handling conversations that are not necessarily easy to have, but he has no problem handling them or standing up for what's right for the city. I'm just going to throw this out there because I don't think there's anything more else to say other than I still stand by my original motion. So I'm going to make a substitute motion that we award this contract to Sal Mendez.
So, yes, I do want us to be a team. I do want us all pulling in the same direction. That is a goal of mine. We're not always going to see eye to eye. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. But we started this process in August. The team isn't just the 5 of us. The team is 350 plus. They are looking for stability. We have been doing this for a very long time. I've gone back and forth many times with this, but in my conversations with the city attorney and about the process, and it's legally defensible, I'm confident that we have done the right thing, that we have done an extensive search, that we have been doing this a very long time. But the most important thing to me is staff is looking for the stability, and I'm ready to give it to them. I will second your motion.
If we've been doing this for so long, why do we get a report, a crucial report? The appointment was contingent upon this background investigation. Why do we get that report the night before the item is to be heard publicly? And that means we cannot have a private discussion in closed session to discuss the report itself. I can't talk to anybody about this without there being a Brown Act violation. Maybe I could talk to one, but that's not effective in public discourse and public policy. It makes no sense. It just defies logic.
Yeah, we've been doing this a long time, and the reason that we weren't able to do a background check is because we didn't come to a decision until last meeting. And that's when we decided to do the background check. So we can't do a background check on 30 people and then pick from that crowd. We have to pick a candidate first and then do a background check.
But part of the problem was that we also, I mean, if we're gonna talk about it, we're gonna talk about it. We did not, the city of Palmdale did not do a background check when he was appointed as assistant city manager. That is a problem.
City attorney, can you chime in?
Yes, there was a background check conducted when Mr. Mendez was appointed to Assistant City Manager. It was not nearly as thorough and complete as this one. And I would like to add that the background check is a decertifying process. So it's essentially pass or fail, and he passed.
But the prior one didn't even contact his prior employer, which makes no sense.
Well, they did now, and that is in the staff report. HR and employment were verified with
Mr. Lowe?
previous employers.
Over the years, I've been involved in numerous jury trials, and there's a basic instruction that the judge gives the jury, which is keep an open mind, don't reach a conclusion early. Frankly, with all due respect, Mr. Bishop, I feel that from what I've observed after you reported out, and I have to be careful, that it's been an outcome determinative thing with you from the beginning. I think that having this matter considered in closed session is the appropriate thing to do. We got this report. In fact, I had to ask Ms. Dalby for this report because frankly, I didn't get it from you, Alex. I got it from Ms. Dalby this afternoon. And when I saw parts of it, I was very concerned about it, and it heightened my concern that this matter actually appeared on the open calendar rather than in closed session. And I think you should consider sending this back to closed session. And I'll submit.
So they made the motion. There was a substitute motion that threatens the integrity of the first one. That will be the motion that's heard first, made by Mr. Bishop, seconded by me. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
I'm opposed.
Opposed.
That motion passes 3-2.
So you guys just appointed city manager without the benefit of a closed session conversation?
We're on to item
about-
8.2.
That is unheard of.
Staff report on 8.2.
Again, okay, sorry about that. This is the resolution regarding federal immigration enforcement that I detailed a little bit.
I'm sorry, I have to recuse myself from this, so I'll be in the back.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so the staff report details a little bit about the history of the motions that were made. Council has been entertaining this idea since about July 1st, 2025. And there was some discrepancy as to what had been requested in the past, but last meeting, it was crystal clear what the intent of the motion was, which was to bring back this resolution that was pulled from the September 2nd, 2025 meeting. So it is here for council consideration and adoption. And I'm here if you have any questions, but it essentially recognizes the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for its commitment to transparency and community trust, and expresses support for legislation promoting identification and accountability in law enforcement.
Would you like to speak? Okay, let's do public comment on this item. If anybody wishes to speak on 8.2, now is your chance.
We have Jason Zink.
My biggest concern with this is basically the city of Palmdale is telling the federal government to, basically, they're going against the federal government, right? By telling ICE agents that they have to wear masks? Is that what this is about? What is this about? That we just support the sheriff department?
That's pretty much it.
So we wasted all this time on that?
That's essentially what it's been diluted to, but yes.
What a ridiculous waste of time.
Any other speakers on 8.2?
No, sir.
Anyone wish to speak on 8.2? All right, we're closing that public comment portion on 8.2. Did you have anything? Okay, well, we have been talking about this a long time. I wrote a letter to the governor, Assemblymember Creo, Senator Valadrez, Mr. Luna, Mr. Bonta, Tom Lackey, George Whitesides, and Catherine Barger in January of last year. I received a response from the Department of Justice, Rob Bonta, and I'm going to submit this to the city attorney because I'll explain that in a second. I want to make available to the public what resources. I think that there are proactive things that we can be doing, right? So whether this passes or not, it is pretty watered down. It really is nothing like you said. I want to build something. So once we have this vote, I'm going to ask the city manager to look into the feasibility of certain things, including services to the immigrant community, English classes, pathway to citizenship classes, food distributions, know your rights classes. There's an attorney service that we could consider contracting that will provide some of those classes. They will provide, if somebody is taken by ICE and you need to go pick up your grandchild from school, they can help you with those custody issues. There's many things that we can do and we can fund to help the community. So we'll pass this thing. That means nothing. We always support our sheriffs. We will always continue to support those deputies. But I would like to go further than that. I think I would like to continue working on something that actually benefits all residents in the community.
So, thank you for that. As the originator of the motion, I guess I will say something because I was reluctant to speak on it because I'm so passionate about this, and I think our community demands more. But if we could just go back to the original intent of my motion. My motion was the original directive, and that was supported by the entire council, was to look at the Huntington Park resolution and the ordinances that they passed and see if we could implement or adopt something or some things similar to those here. That was the original motion almost a year ago. I got back a draft resolution that didn't incorporate a lot of the other things. But let me just, so what, I appreciate you talking about other things that we can do, but we've never spoken about, and it was never included in any of the report backs. But what Huntington Park did was also, they approved $150,000 to implement the HP with You pilot initiative to provide food relief, legal assistance, other resources, all of these other things. But none of that was ever included in the conversation originally in response to my motion to look at the Huntington Park actions. That was problematic. When it came back to council, the draft resolution, when it came back to council, I saw it in advance, and then I sat down and I was standing in interim city manager, now city manager's, Sal Mendez's office with our city attorney, then city attorney, and said, this is completely watered down. What is this? What is this resolution? It does not mirror in any way what Huntington Park did. And she said, I agree. The original draft was almost, it was very much like the Huntington Park resolution. What she told me was that the council members watered it down during their briefings, and that's where it was. And so that day, the item was pulled from the agenda, and it stayed off the agenda for, I don't know, 8 months. And it came back today as the same resolution, the same watered down resolution that we spoke about back then. That's why I'm so just disheartened by the process by which things get done here on this council. It's really disappointing. I think our community deserves better. And if we had that conversation back then, and she said, I'm going to work on it, and I said, can we put some teeth back in it? She said, yes, I will do it, and it never happened. So I don't, this is wonderful. We always support. There was never any question, do we support the sheriffs? That's not the question.
But in subsequent council meetings, I thought we would work together. And there was a meeting that was supposed to happen, you weren't able to attend.
Because my mom had surgery,
No,
and then it was a pre-scheduled date where I could not be there. But then you guys scheduled a meeting where I can't be there. I don't understand why you guys do that. But it's neither here or there. Let's just support this resolution and do whatever you guys are gonna do.
The reason I brought that up, because this is still an important issue. And I'm sorry for family issues, and I'm not trying to call you out for not. There was a meeting, you weren't able to attend. We made a motion in the last council meeting that this item comes back to this meeting. That didn't give us time to continue those conversations. So what I'm going to suggest is we make a motion to support this, and then you and I, or however you want to do it, let's actually build something that's going to benefit the community. So we can
Can I
pass
make a
this,
comment?
and then we can bring something else back in the future.
I'd like to make a comment. My concern with this is that, as has been pointed out already, the federal government has, under the Supremacy Clause, preemption in this area. For us to enact, I guess this is a resolution, and it's a resolution, which means it's just an opinion, basically. It's not an ordinance. But in this resolution, to state that we don't want federal agents to conduct their operations unless they have facial masks is an act in futility.
That's not what it says.
Excuse me, may I just complete my thoughts? I guess we're back to being a little adversarial, Ms. Alarcon, but not too much. One of the things that really strikes me is that during the Obama period, when he deported, well, he was the deporter-in-chief, deported millions of people. You didn't see all this controversy. I had 2 clients that were charged with relatively minor drug offenses that the sheriff turned over to immigration, and they were deported. We don't have that now. What we have is confrontation. And much of what we have seen recently has been due to all of the activity with the local jurisdictions not cooperating with the federal government and turning over criminals. And now we have this situation. My concern about this resolution is that we send a message to the community, to the migrant community, that gives them false hope. That perhaps they are going to think, if this immigration officer, if this ICE officer is coming to detain me or arrest me or hold me or whatever the process is, the city of Palmdale resolved that you must have a mask. It just creates even more problems for law enforcement and for the migrants that are being the subject of that action.
Mayor, may I make a comment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think my interpretation of why staff brought back the resolution as it sits is because it was vetted through our legislative team, and it's a, I guess what you could call it's a safe document. Staff has an obligation and a duty to whatever they bring forward to council shall be in the best interest of the city and its residents. So I think they were a little hesitant on putting something with some more aggressive wording or teeth into it, as they didn't know what the repercussions would be from that. Anyway, I wrote a speech because I know this is a serious issue. I know a lot of people are fearful, and I know emotions are running high on this, but I wrote this speech and I want to read it because I think this is very important. I need to voice my opinion on why I cannot support taking an action on this item. First and foremost, I support all the residents of Palmdale, a community that values stability, trust, and calm. I know people are tired of elected officials making promises they don't actually have the authority to keep, and I refuse to do that here. Immigration enforcement isn't within city's jurisdiction, just as we don't grade restaurants on health ratings or enforce federal aviation rules. In California, SB 54 already prohibits local cooperation with civil immigration enforcement. The sheriff follows that law, and so do we. Any type of symbolic vote doesn't add any protection or hold any legal weight. Under this current administration, cities making any statements or getting involved in this issue have drawn federal scrutiny, legal challenges, and threats to funding that could be millions for housing, food distributions, infrastructure, public safety, and more. If enforcement were to occur, and we suggested that a local vote could prevent it, that belief would place an unfair weight on all the families in our community. By taking this action, we risk drawing unnecessary attention to our community and creating consequences we cannot control. My primary responsibility is to protect everyone in our community, and sometimes the most responsible thing to do is to exercise restraint and avoid placing unnecessary spotlight on our city. I'd rather be criticized today for caution than be responsible tomorrow for confusion, false hope, or misplaced trust. For those reasons, I'll be voting no.
Okay, so if I could just clarify for the record, what is being resolved here today? None of what has been spoken of is included here. So I will read the three provisions. Now therefore be it resolved. The city of Palmdale expresses its support for the sheriff's deputies as they navigate the challenges of federal enforcement actions within the community, and reaffirms the city's commitment to fostering collaboration and mutual respect between law enforcement and residents. 2, the city of Palmdale supports recent state and LA County legislation aimed at enhancing transparency and accountability in law enforcement statewide. 3, the city clerk shall transmit copies of this resolution to the sheriff's department, the county board, and whatnot. That is, none of those therefore be it resolved has any discussion of mass or any of the other things that you guys are purporting that it does. So if anybody's disseminating false information, it's you guys with your statements that suggest that this is doing something other than what it is. This is just saying we support the sheriff's deputies, which of course we do. This is just saying that we support state and LA County recent legislation, which we do. I mean, okay? But this is not what anybody is suggesting. It's not giving false hope to anybody because there's nothing offered in this.
Yeah, and I think the reason that all was excluded is because we have an obligation to protect and provide services to all residents of the city of Palmdale, regardless of immigration status. So to protect them, it was important to me that we don't do anything to tempt ICE to come here, because one thing we know about Mr. Trump, he's very retaliatory, and he will. And if you look at some of the money that's being spent to convert different buildings and warehouses to detention centers in California, if you listen to his State of the Union on how he's going to clean up Los Angeles, it is coming. And I don't want them to focus on us. What I want to do is protect everybody in our community. So we all agree, from what I'm hearing, that we don't like this resolution. So what I say is just, let's move past that and let's move towards something that will benefit
I just
all
want to make
residents.
one additional comment very quickly. The resolution, the 1, 2, 3 that Councilwoman Alarcon pointed out, is, I guess, supported by one of the whereases, which specifically mentions facial coverings.
But the whereas
And
don't
then
matter.
it goes on to say that these protocols have strengthened trust and communication between law enforcement and community and so on. So it does refer to that. And I think it's problematic, so.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we just, let's deny this.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
To just deny it outright and
Yeah,
not
and then-
take any action
What
otherwise?
what I want to do otherwise is craft a resolution or ordinance that has teeth, that incorporates these things that we talked about, like English classes, pathway to citizenship classes, money for food distribution. There's a handful of the community that won't come to saves because they don't trust the government. We still have an obligation to feed and protect those members of the community. They need to know what their rights are. There are other services that we can do. Could you imagine being taken out of this country with your kid in school and your parents don't know what to do? We can provide somebody that can guide through some of these things. Pathways to citizenship, like if there's DACA disputes, whatever it is, let's help our community. This resolution doesn't help the community. So let's take a little bit more time and
Wonderful,
craft
but can we
something
get a
that does.
timeline? Can we get a timeline? Because I introduced this motion almost a year ago.
Yes.
And we've got nothing.
I will go with your timeline.
I mean, we can redraft an entire reso, or I would like, if we're gonna appropriate money, or at least propose that we appropriate money, I would like for it to come and be included in the upcoming budget. I
Correct.
don't wanna wait for another budget cycle or do a mid-year budget review. If we can do it now, let's do it now and have it incorporated into our July 1 next fiscal year budget, which we're gonna be approving, and reviewing very, very soon. So within that timeline, we've gotta get staff on it.
Let's
but-
get it done before the budget. Do we need to make a motion to do that, or can we just do it? We'll do it.
I'm seeing consensus, so no, okay, take the vote, so I'm clear.
It's not an agendized matter. I mean, it should be brought back at another council.
To add it to the future agenda.
It was an agendized matter last time. I think Mayor
not to
Olson and
allocate
I,
money.
we spoke about the resolution and resources.
Not to allocate
But it
money,
wasn't
well.
added in here.
Anyway, I
this
think
time.
if it's going to be considered, it should be brought properly agendized in a future agenda.
Right, that's what we're
Let's do that.
suggesting.
Let's, we don't need a vote. You and I can create that and bring it forward. So, we took a vote already, right?
Yep.
Councilmember Alarcon didn't vote. You guys voted and she didn't
Do you-
say anything.
do you wanna pass this
I
thing
need
in?
clarification on what exactly we're doing. Because are we just acting like we're doing something and then not doing something? We're doing nothing? Is that what we're doing? Or we're gonna talk about it for another year?
Nope, you and I, or however you want to do this, we will get something that has teeth before the budget, and we'll put it in the budget. I was hoping that we could have done that before this meeting. Life happens, let's just get it done.
Agreed.
Okay.
I would prefer that we take a motion, we do, what has been the process that was suggested by our city attorney at prior meetings was that if we're going to add something to a future agenda, then it needs to be a motion and a second and approved by council, otherwise, by majority of council, otherwise there is no real direction. Is that correct?
Okay,
So
the motion is
I don't
that,
want it to just, we talk about a motion and then what I hear from them is, well, there was never a really a motion, so we didn't bring it back because you guys never acted on it. I want to make sure we act on it so that we get something done. I'm tired of talking about it. Our community deserves action. And if we're just not going to take action, they should know that too.
would you like to make the motion?
You could go ahead and make the
Okay,
motion.
the motion is that we're gonna just table this. This goes away. We're gonna work on something together and bring a draft version back to the council to vote on before the budget.
So a draft version of a resolution as well as potential identification of appropriation of resources?
Yes?
That needs to be in the motion, and we got to be very careful because the minutes, I want to make sure that we're clear on what we're doing so that there is no ambiguity moving forward. So if your motion is we bring back a revised resolution, wonderful. Also, that we bring back a report back on, proposed services and maybe appropriations that we can make to support affected communities. Wonderful.
That's it.
But a two-part motion would be great. And if that's your motion, I'm happy to second.
That's my motion.
Okay, and I'd like to ask City Attorney to clarify whether this is appropriate under the Brown Act and under the present agendized item.
Yes, they're essentially making a motion for a future agendized item.
Yeah.
So it will be brought back before council.
But is this the appropriate time to do so?
Technically, it should be at the end, but we're
Okay, we'll
almost,
wait till
we're
the end.
basically already there.
No, but it's part of
yeah.
the substantive conversation. You can make a motion on the fly, doesn't it?
So the motion is to put something of this nature in a future agenda.
To continue this reso, but also to bring it back with a report back on potential additional resources that the city can provide.
There's a motion, there's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion dies 2-2.
Awesome. Well, community, I think you have your answer.
Okay. We are moving on. The second I find my thing. Oh, yeah, can someone find?
Let me go get it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Item 9, joint new business with the Housing Authority. Now is the time for public participation on 9.1. Should we get the staff report first? Let's get a staff report on 9.1. Sorry, public, I saw you all rushing up here.
Mayor, can I just explain to the public why I was in the back room? If we work for a business that involves something like, this was a sheriff's department issue, and I work for the sheriff's department, so I'm not allowed to vote. So I had to go in the back so that I didn't influence or try to convince anybody one way or the other on that resolution. So I had to leave because I work for the sheriff's department and it involved the sheriff's department. Does that make sense? I just wanted the public to know why I was in the back, so.
Okay, 9.1, staff report, please.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Janelle Sampson, Director of Operations. This evening, I will be presenting our mid-year budget adjustments for fiscal year 25-26. The City Council adopted the fiscal year annual operating and capital budget on June 17th of 2025 for the fiscal year beginning July 1. From that time until now, staff have had the opportunity to review the program services and determine any adjustments that are necessary. That's what we're bringing forward for your consideration this evening. As a reminder, the city is required to present a balanced budget. Our general fund with these adjustments is balanced, as you will see, and maintains a reserve requirement of 20%. Within our budget, we are maintaining a 30% reserve. On the screen before you, you'll see a summary of our adjustments. This is overall high-level impact. All funds, net impact, our revenues are increasing by $30.1 million for a total of $571.4 million. Expenditures increased by $1.4 million for a total of $417.9 million. That is all funds, general fund, special revenue funds, transportation funds combined. You'll also see the general fund revenues proposed to increase by $6.2 million for a total of $146.5. Expenditures increased by $5.8 million for a total of $146.4. So you'll see there we are in balance with our general fund. This next slide goes through our key drivers of revenue adjustments. And I'll go through all funds first because that $30.1 million increase in revenues may sound alarming. So I will explain what that is. That is primarily grant funds. So we do have 24.3 million in grant funds that we're anticipating to receive. That is carried forward for multi-year projects, and it is carried through the life of those projects. So revenue is recognized in the period in which the expenses are spent. We have other revenues of 5.7 million, franchise fees of 520,000, development charges of 122, and other charges for services of 103. We do have some decreases to offset that. We have special assessments, 2.9 million in decreased special assessments. That is related to our Ritter Ranch CFD that we are not anticipating to receive those special taxes. And fines and forfeitures, a decrease of 294,000. That is a result of parking citation fees that we do not anticipate receiving as a result of our street sweeping efforts. Are there any questions so far? Our general fund, at the bottom here, we are proposing an increase of 6.1 million. That the primary driver of that is a insurance proceed reimbursement of 5.5 million that we're anticipating to receive. So that was something that was unanticipated at the time of the budget adoption, but we are incorporating here. Any questions before I move on? This next slide goes through the key drivers of our expenditure adjustments. All funds are anticipated to go up 1.4 million or 0.3%. The major drivers, 6.2 million in operating expenditures. That is the actual payment of that legal settlement that we just spoke about, the revenue insurance proceeds on the other side. This was the expense that went out, as well as some increases in our housing grant funds for our federal home program and CDBG funds. Those amounts were trued up because at the time of budget they were estimates, and we now have those true allocation amounts, so we've trued up those amounts here. You will see a major decrease shown on the slide here, 10.2 million in capital. You will see that is actually just moved to another area under our capital improvement program. That is relating to a reallocation from an operating account for, I think it was 13 million for the Chimboli Center improvements. At the time of budget, we had some projects that we had vaguely discussed, and those amounts were not allocated definitively. So we've moved that in this budget, in this mid-year, to that capital improvement project. There is also, it is offset by a reduction in Measure A park funds of 2.3 million, and that is for Yellen Park. The reason for that is not because we're not working on the park, but it is due to timing of that project and the potential lapsing funds of Measure A park funds. So what we'll do is just reassess that with the annual budget and reappropriate those funds as needed in the annual process. Any questions so far? And again, at the bottom here, the general fund increase of 5.8 million. Primary driver there is the 5.4 in legal settlement that was paid out. The next slide goes through our capital improvement program. We do have a full CIP budget of 222.9 million. Our net adjustment that's proposed in this mid-year budget is 10.7 million or 4.9%. And you'll see here that increase that I just spoke about for the Chimboli Center. 13.2 million has been allocated directly to that project, and that is made up of 12 million in general funds and 1.2 million of Measure AV funds. We also have $1 million increase for the Saves tenant improvements for that new location, and that is utilizing CDBG funds. And again, the decrease that I just spoke about for Yellen Park. So that's presented here in the CIP budget. Any questions? No? All right. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Now is the time for the public to participate on item 9.1.
We have Jason Zink.
What was missing from that report? Sales tax revenue. Is it going up? Is it going down? What? It's just mind-boggling to me. Like these staff reports, what they're missing with so much just common sense. Wouldn't you want to know that? Sales tax, is it increasing, decreasing? You know, where are we going? I'd like to see money for food distribution, 100,000. I'd like to see 250,000 for the 250th anniversary to do wall murals and projects throughout the city to celebrate our country and the freedom of being an American. I'd like to see Palmdale a historic park. I'd like to see a sign on it, and I'd like to see money allocated to hire a company to start developing it, so we can start looking for grants and stuff like that. But we need to start getting back to Palmdale and not all these other frivolous, worthless things. Focus on Palmdale Pride, the aerospace capital of America. We need transparency with salaries. We don't know how much money Sal's getting in benefits, do we? Now, I noticed that when Rhonda became city manager, the salary went down, but the benefits almost equaled the salary. We should know exactly how much every single employee is paid and the benefits they're receiving. That's what you call a trick. We need free internet housing for the 300 units that the city has. Streets, we need a plan on how we're going to repave these streets. Pull all that money. I don't know why Chimboli Center's spending so much money on it. Just put it back to the way it was and open it up. We're hurting the community by not having that facility. Use all that extra money to repave roads. Take a map, highlight it in yellow, every street that is over 8 years old. Every street that's over 10 years old, orange. Every street that's over 15 years old, red. You guys don't even know how much it's gonna cost to repave our city streets and put them up to par. Just, you know, high standards. I would do things a lot different and a lot easier and a lot less chaos. And these meetings would not last this long.
Anyone else?
No, right here.
Oh,
I'm gonna give this book to Sal, our city manager. It's about Palmdale history. I want you to put in the budget to buy 350 of them and pass it out to every city staff person, every city worker. We gotta start getting back to what makes Palmdale great and beautiful and gives us pride, you know? But please approve those wall murals. I want it done right away.
any other speakers? Anybody else wish to speak? Okay, we are closing the public comment on 9.1. Council, do you have anything to say?
I do. Can we get staff? I have
Oh,
a couple questions, follow-up questions. So thank you for your overview. I think it was informative. It would have been helpful to have something similar at the Measure AV meeting, because it's difficult to digest and to weed through all of this, what's Measure AV versus what's Measure PD. So let's just start with the Measure AV fund schedule. I just have one question there. So the proposed change in this mid-year review includes $300,000 for increase in special events. What's that for? And well, just go ahead. Yeah.
Of course. So we do have Carrie Smith, Director of Parks and Recreation, who can speak to this in more detail, but I do have a high level that is primarily for 250th, America's 250th, as well as some World Cup celebration events.
Great. So I just wanted to make sure that we pointed that out so that people understand that there is actually money being budgeted for the 250th celebration of our country. But I also, as a follow-up to that, I requested at our last meeting, I think it was February 3rd, it's in our minutes as well, and I requested prior to that several times, a listing, annual listing of all of the special events that we fund, that the city manager funds, and I still haven't gotten it. We got a complaint a letter from a concerned resident, like within the past, I don't know, a few days. I don't remember the exact date. I didn't print it. But she was concerned that she said she submitted requests, calls, didn't get anything back, was trying to get support for events, including the Juneteenth, not getting response. She wanted to know what special events, what cultural events we actually fund. I've been asking that question for quite some time. I asked you for that list, still haven't gotten it. Would like to get a listing, and I also at that meeting, and it's in the minutes, I requested that information be posted on our website so that it's publicly available to everyone. Which cultural events and which special events are we funding under your unilateral authority? We should know that. Like, how much money are we spending for Cesar Chavez versus how much money are we spending for Juneteenth? How much money are we spending for Christmas? How much money are we spending for, the 4th of July versus, we just should know that. It should just be publicly available. We shouldn't have to speculate. It should be, part of the reason is, one, information, but I want to make sure that there's equity in which the money is spent and expended. And make sure that all of the cultural events that we as a council, we should all agree, we should have an annual list of special events, and we should all look at it and say, oh yeah, it's wonderful. Let's all support all of these events. And if we want to add an event that we all agree, we should be on there. But there's got to be transparency in that process. And so I'm going to reiterate again my request for a listing of all of the special events that the city has sponsored, so that I can see, and of course share it with the council, how much money we're expending for all of the various events. Particularly when we're increasing our Measure AV expenditures by $300,000. Why are we increasing it? What did we spend the other money for? I don't know, because we don't have that detail. So that is my one concern. So we have a schedule for Measure AV. We don't have one for Measure PD, correct?
That is correct.
So can you just explain why? Because I think people are trying to figure out where the money is going and where all these taxes are going. Can you just sort of explain why Measure PD doesn't have its own separate schedule?
Of course. Measure PD is a general sales tax, and therefore it has the same restrictions as our general fund sales tax. So it is consolidated into our general fund and reported out in that same manner. Measure AV, while still a sales tax, when it was presented on the ballot, it did require an oversight committee, which Measure PD did not. Therefore, we are required to go before that Measure AV oversight committee and segregate those funds in a manner that can be presented to them. The city has chosen to separate into separate funds, although that is not a requirement. The reporting to the committee is the requirement, though.
Thank you for that. And then there are several schedules in here, or it's several pages of adjustments for our capital improvement program. About 2 meetings ago, we had the discussion about our capital improvement program. We as a council did not, that was the 5-year capital improvement program. We did not approve it because we were waiting for it to come back with revisions and additional clarity. So can you just sort of speak to how these proposed budget adjustments correlate with the CIP program that has not yet been approved by council?
I can speak to that, Mayor, members of the council. These are for current capital improvements that are active now. These are capital projects that are already in process. The 5-year capital program looks out 5 years, looks out up to 5 years, which are in the incubation stage. These are capital projects that are working now, that we are working on at this moment.
Right, but there's a $13 million change for Chimbole. We're not going to be able to expend that by June 30th, right?
Mayor, members
So
of the
that's part of
council,
our 5-year capital improvement program, correct?
That money, we're very close to the final design. We plan on awarding it hopefully by the end of this fiscal year and start construction.
But the expenditure is not, that's not.
The way we have it routed, the way we're processing it now is we plan to hope to have dual shifts, and we plan to build it as quickly as possible.
I guess my point is that there are some adjustments in here that also dovetail and correlate to our 5-year capital improvement program that has not yet been approved.
That is
Correct? That is correct,
Well,
right?
in this process, no, the 5-year program has not been approved, but that is not to say that we're stopping work because that hasn't been approved.
Right, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that there are some budget adjustments incorporated in here that you're asking that we approve today that also correlate directly to our CIP program that has not been approved. What if we, when it comes back, want to change the CIP program and want to redirect or reallocate money? But I'm just saying that some of these changes, these proposed changes, correlate to that CIP program, correct? Because there's no way we're spending 13 million on Chimbole in the next month and a half, I mean, however many months.
You are correct that they do correlate to the CIP. I think the intent of allocating those funds under that project is to have them available for the award, because you do need to have that availability of funds in order to put out a bid for construction. So that is the intent in having it allocated to the project.
And I totally understand that. I just wanted to be clear and want to make sure that we are mindful of it moving forward, that the money isn't, that we are appropriating it now before we actually approve the 5-year CIP program. Because we might then need to readjust based on council priorities when that CIP program comes back.
And that would absolutely be appropriate if the council chose to readjust at the time of the annual budget.
Thanks. And then my final point, I just want to make sure that we all heard, 5.4, the increase of expenditures is 5.4 million in legal settlement expenses. It's exactly why I felt so strongly about making sure that we did a fully vetted city manager, at least a final closed session discussion so that we could avoid having to expend over $5 million in legal settlement expenses. Anyway, thanks.
Well, it just seems like this is something we have to do, but our taxpayers have been very generous with us, passing 2 tax measures that resulted in the highest tax rate in the state of California and perhaps the United States. We have to show something for that. And I hope you take that into consideration as you are dealing with what we're doing midterm here, or the mid-year adjustment, but going forward next year. And one thing that is going to come at us is that we're going to have to consider the contribution to AVTA, that because of increased expenses on various levels, is going to require a sizable increase to the 3 jurisdictions, that is to say to the city of Palmdale, city of Lancaster, and Los Angeles County. That's coming, and we need to prepare for that because it's not a small amount. But do what you have to do, Ms. Sampson.
Councilmember Backcourt? Nope. Mr. Bishop?
Add a little something. I appreciate the work staff has put into developing a responsible budget that maintains services, continues investing in our infrastructure, and keeps the city on solid financial footing. At the same time, we must remain disciplined and mindful of long-term obligations, economic fluctuations, and the importance of maintaining a strong reserve and our credit rating, which is a AA, which is very good, by the way. Passing the budget is important, but what's more important is managing it responsibly as we move forward. Budgets get adjusted and amended, and things happen along the way. But we have a really good CIP program, a very aggressive CIP program, and we have a very healthy budget thanks to our residents. So as long as I'm on this council, I will do my best to be fiscally responsible and make sure that we are good stewards of the fiscal dollar for the taxpayer, and we're doing as much as we can without being wasteful. So I appreciate our finance department for managing the hundreds of millions of dollars that go through their department and make all of this possible, because without the finance aspect of it, we wouldn't be able to run an organization that has 300+ employees, hundreds of contractors, so on and so forth. So it's not an easy job managing it. I appreciate it. Budget comes every year. It goes up, it goes down, but the city is in a good fiscal health. And I'm looking forward to all the improvements and everything we have coming forward. I think we're making good progress, and I think on the whole, the residents are pretty happy with the job that we're doing. Thank you.
Commissioner Fragasons, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay, well,
Okay, then we're gonna do two different votes here, one with the full housing authority. So would you like to make that motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay,
The item on 9.1.
yeah.
I'll second her motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes unanimously. Now, the same vote, just the city council.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes unanimously as well. We will now adjourn the housing authority, but you're welcome to stay. Okay. We're now to the city manager report, not the interim city manager, the city manager report.
Mayor, members of the city council, with that, I have I guess, something I'd like to let the city council know. I want to thank you, mayor, and members of the city council for the confidence you have placed in me. I'm truly humbled and grateful for the opportunity to continue serving this organization and this community as your city manager. Over the past 2 years, I've had the privilege of working alongside an incredibly dedicated staff of employees who care deeply about this city. Together, we have made meaningful progress, and I'm eager to continue guiding Palmdale in a positive and forward-moving trajectory. I also want to emphasize that I serve the entire city council and the entire community. My commitment is to unity, transparency, and collaboration. We are strongest when we work together. I want to repeat that. We are strongest when we work together. And I look forward to building on that spirit as we move ahead. Thank you for your trust and the opportunity to serve this wonderful community. Thank you. And with that, I'll go into our announcements. We have upcoming events. The Women's Symposium is Saturday, March 21st from 10:30 to 2 p.m. at Legacy Commons. This is the 5th annual Women's Symposium, so go out there. Contratiempo, a dance company, will host community workshops to help shape their upcoming Joy Us and Just Us performance. This is Tuesday, March 21st from 6 to 7:30 and Thursday, March 26th at Sam Allen Community Park. Come join us. Help us gather your insights, hopes, and ideas to co-create experiences that reflect the heart of the city. Children's Spring Fest and Egg Hunt is Saturday, March 28th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Palmdale Amphitheater. Admission is free. The Ventura Foundation, in partnership with the city, will be hosting Cesar Chavez Day, Saturday, March 28th from 11 to 4 p.m. at Sam Allen Park. Admission is also free. Disney's Frozen, we saw the wonderful people out here today. Tickets are now on sale from March 20th through the 29th at the Palmdale Playhouse. Come out and enjoy that wonderful event. We'll have a business workshop on March 24th at 11 a.m. Practical tools to grow your business. This is at Developmental Services Building. The city, in partnership with Small Business Development Center, is offering a series that helps business owners strengthen their digital presence using Google as a growth platform. Visit the city website for more details. I also have a few announcements. Sorry about that. 2026 Dry Town Water Park season passes are now available. Please look at our website for that. Waste Management Shred event. There's a reminder, free document destruction services every second Saturday of every odd month. So we'll do the math. That's this upcoming March 14th. I believe that's March 14th. So we'll have a shredding event on March 14th. That's second Saturday of odd month, March. So come out and get your stuff shredded. Veteran of the Year award nominations are still being accepted through March. This award recognizes local vendors. To submit nomination, visit the city website. Community members are invited to share their thoughts on upcoming mural projects through an easy online survey. Residents can help shape the themes and visit images for murals at Corson Park before it closes on Thursday, March 5th. So that's this week. So if you guys go out there and submit your thoughts. And one last thing, the city is pleased to welcome Michael McComas as the new Public Safety Director. Michael, welcome. Mike joined the city in February of 2026, bringing extensive leadership and experience and sincere dedication to the community. And also, he has 30 years living out here in the Antelope Valley. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
Speech?
I'm very happy to be here and no longer have to drive over the hill and
Yay.
make a difference in the community where I live. So thank you very much.
Excellent.
Creating jobs here.
One down, 74,999 to go.
Okay. We're moving on to council reports, announcements, and requests for future agenda items. Let's start to my left, Mr. Loa.
I'm actually on your right, sir. Politically, that is.
Wow.
Welcome up.
Pictures had two good jokes tonight.
You're on a roll.
Yeah, okay, listen, I've been having conversations with Ms. Severino regarding this investigation on myself that started several months ago regarding all these allegations against me. And every month for the last several months, there's this contract that went out to this investigative agency that's doing that kind of work. And every time she has told me, well, it's coming soon, couple of weeks, January, then February, now we're into March. I'd like for that to get wrapped up. The district attorney on this whole incident regarding my son and the van was rejected by the district attorney. And my understanding, Ms. Severino, without getting into any details, is that the balance is also being cleared. And I would just request that we put a final to this. Can we do that?
Yes, we are working diligently to completion, and I hope that we have this resolved ASAP.
I believe that because of the clearance, that I've been returned to almost all of the boards that I was on previously. And we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I have a lot to say, and I'll try to make it quick, but I'm not always so quick. So first of all, I agree that our roads need focus. I want to have the best roads in the Antelope Valley. So yes, Jason, I agree with you on that. Rich is not here, but he talked about the taxes, bringing our taxes down. I have been in conversations with other people about possible ways of bringing our tax rate down. So Rich isn't here, but if anybody wants to pass the word and let him know, we are working on it. We're trying to find a way because we want people to shop local, not go somewhere else to buy a lawnmower. The other thing is the murals. I actually just got back from Palm Springs with my sister. She'd never been there, so I took her. And if you haven't been to Palm Springs, it's covered in murals everywhere. And I came back and I showed Sal murals that I would like to see in Palmdale, like the Kodak moments, the angel wings where you stand in front of it. But more importantly than that, I agree with the 250 celebration. And the 250th birthday celebration of the United States is extremely important to my family. My sister and I are both daughters of the American Revolution. We have had a family member in war, in combat, for every major confrontation on American soil, and some off American soil, like in Korea. My dad was in Korea, and et cetera, et cetera. So the military is really, really important to me. But the fact that they helped create America is something that I am proud to celebrate with the 250th year. And I would like to see banners, flags, murals, car wraps, whatever we can do to help celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States. So that's very, very important to me. I also like the idea that Andrea had about having a list of all of the events, cultural events that we sponsor, because I think we're neglecting a lot of our community. I watched recently some of the Chinese New Year's events, beautiful celebrations all over the country. We got nothing. No offense, because no one's brought it up. I've never seen an Irish-American celebration in the Antelope Valley. I recently went down to Long Beach to the Scottish Games, or what they call the Highland Games. And it's a very interesting thing to see if you've never seen it. And I thought, wow, we should bring that to Palmdale. There's a lot of things like some groups, they'll have like 4 or 5 celebrations for one cultural group and then nothing for the rest. Asian Pacific Islander Month, we don't have anything for them. So I'd like to see a list of which organizations or which events we're helping co-sponsor or sponsor, and then take a look at the community members that we are not providing any events for. Because just because they're quiet doesn't mean they don't want something to help celebrate their culture too.
Thank you for that. So if that's a motion, I'm happy to second it,
Okay.
because I know we have
I
to
know,
do the
I'm-
process.
I have
so
one more thing.
If that's a motion, I'll second it, and then we
Okay.
can call for the question
I'm
whenever
also
you're
trying to
done.
bring back T-Knots. I've talked to some people about T-Knots is Thursday night on the squares, on the square that we used to have at Poncelan. People have been asking me repeatedly to bring that back, so I would like to bring that back, and we're in conversations about that. And the last thing, oh yes, is, I think it was Jason or Rich, I'm not sure, that wanted to know the salary breakdown of all the employees. Do we participate, Sal, in Transparent California?
Yeah.
Okay, Transparent California website tells all the wages and benefits of every government employee. So just go there and Google it, and you can find it. Well, we can put a link to it. We can do that. And then the last thing is, I was wondering if we got any foot traffic or interest from the public. At the last meeting, I think I mentioned I would like to see us participate again in the Rose Parade, but we have to have a committee to do that. And I'm just wondering if anybody's heard anything from any public members that have showed any interest. I haven't, which makes me sad. So, something to think about. And that is all I have.
Okay.
So you going to me? I thought you were,
Oh, sorry.
sure.
I keep going to the ends back to the middle. Sorry.
No worries, I don't have much. I just, to follow up on Councilmember Loa's request for a final report for his, but there were a couple other reports that we never got back, at least to my knowledge, never got back. I never received the forensic accounting of our former city managers' unilateral actions, which we authorized. So there are, can we get all those back?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop?
I'll keep it brief.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I'll keep it briefer. Richard, you had two great jokes tonight, so kudos to you.
Yeah, you won that round.
I know Eric's the comedian, but you got jokes of the night. On a more serious note, it's an honor and a privilege to continue to serve the great residents of the city of Palmdale, to work alongside staff in this body, and come together every couple of weeks to do what we can to provide a better quality of life for the residents. It's something I don't take lightly. It's something I think is very important, and I feel very privileged to be a part of this. And on another note, I'm kind of disappointed I'm not going to hear Roger's remarks since there's no closed session, but I'll come to you after the meeting for your feedback.
Mr. Olson could write me a couple one-liners.
We'll work on that. We'll have something, we'll have 5 minutes ready for you next week.
If I could just also follow up, so there, if that was a motion, I will second it. Can we vote? Because I want to make
What-
sure
will
there's
you
clear
clarify the
direction
motion?
to the council, to
Will you clarify the
power
motion?
giving.
The motion is to provide a list to the council, or maybe even post it on the city website, a breakdown of all of the cultural events that the city of Palmdale spends money on to help produce.
That's to bring that back. In other words,
Second.
put it on.
Yeah.
Right, just to bring it back on another future, they could do a full report and talk about it.
Yeah.
That'd be
We
wonderful.
got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is it my turn?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been pretty busy. I've met with our assembly members, I've met with our congressman, and I got a brief meeting with the governor, and I am advocating for the supercommuter. That's all I'm talking about right now, because that is a major issue that we have to tackle, the transportation needs here. I'm phrasing it kind of as a public safety issue. When you spend an hour and a half, 2 hours away from your children, you're not making it home in time for dinner, you're not with your kids, they get into mischief, things escalate from there. So I'm really, really advocating for that. And then also the street sweeping signs, we're gonna fix it. We made a mistake. It was dumb to put both sides of the street at the same time. We are fixing it. And I guess I won't speak for the rest of the council, but for me, I'm sorry that we got that wrong. When we first saw the signs, I know at least Councilmember Bishop, and we were like, what the hell is this? And
It wasn't brought to us before it was printed.
correct, but that wasn't this administration. We made a mistake then. I'm gonna own it. We are going to fix it. With that, Closed session, city
I have
attorney.
one more thing I want to say.
Oh. Please don't beat a dead horse.
I just wanted to say how important having good roads in the city of Palmdale is. I, over the years, have been very sick on and off and in treatment, and majority of what has happened to me has been damage to my spine. I could not drive down 35th Street East without being in just horrible pain because I drove a truck and it was bouncing down 35th. I actually got Mike Behan, who used to work here. I said, get in my truck, and I drove him down 35th Street, and he could see how the road was jarring my back. I really thought it was going to snap a disc. And it took years for them to rebuild my spine to where that doesn't happen. We finally got that road paved, and I thought, there's probably 1,000 people like me that have back injuries, leg injuries, neck injuries, and they're bouncing along these roads. It's unfair, it's painful, it can do permanent damage to people like me that have bone injuries. And so I push hard, and I'm obnoxious about it, about getting streets fixed. Like I said, it's not unlike me to put a director in my truck and drive them through my district and say, this is what people are experiencing in my district. So I just want to say, it's not just your smooth car, your bumpy ride. It can actually be physically damaging to people. So I just wanted you to know why it's so important to me, because I have experienced firsthand the ungodly pain that driving down our roads can actually cause. So that was it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Is there any public comment for closed session?
No public comments?
Jason looked interested. Okay, we're closing public comment. City attorney?
Good evening again, Mayor and City Council. Tonight for closed session, there is item 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, and 12.4, and we are ready to go when you are.
Great. We're ready now. All right, I'll do it.
Okay. Good evening, again, Mayor and City Council. Let me get you. For item number 12.1, this evening, the City Council approved a settlement with the real estate developers CV Communities LLC, City Ventures LLC, and City Ventures Home Building LLC, collectively CVC, which successfully resolves two separate legal actions, the CVC v. AVEC et al. Action in Los Angeles and the City of Palmdale v. CVC et al. Action in Lancaster concerning the Joshua Ranch project's water supply. Pursuant to the terms of the agreement with CVC, the city will receive $500,000 cash, and also in the Antelope Valley East Kern Water Agency, AVEC, has acknowledged the transfer of 3,688 acre-feet of water to the city. And for item number 12.2, there was no reportable action. For item number 12.3, there was no reportable action.
Item 12.4, no reportable action.
Great. Okay. We're adjourned until when? What's the next date?
April 7th, looks up there. Says up there on April 7th.
Oh, April 7th, 2026. Did you?
We're not having a second
Okay.
March meeting now?
I think we're going to be in
Nope.
Washington.
All right, we're adjourned.
We're going to be in Washington.
Oh,